Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Simultaneous Time Travel. Sharing Talents from Jackie Chan Adventures. Chapter 21. Navy Branch 153. A fast-sailing ship with a sheep's head on the bow entered the harbor. It was the Mary driven by the Straw Hat Boys. Since this was the Navy's territory after all, according to Link's instructions, the Straw Hat Boys still put down their pirate flags. Straw Hat Boys, why are you back? Seeing Luffy's familiar smile on the Mary, the Navy of the Navy Branch 153 was stunned at first, and then burst into amazing cheers. After all, it was Luffy who saved them from Monka's rule. At first, they didn't feel anything. They were a little numb to Monka's abuse. Later, when Link took over Monka's position, they realized what a hard life they had lived before. Now they have meat for every meal and can eat their fill. Link also taught them to grow some fruits and vegetables, and specially ordered milk for them. The nutrition is very good. In the past, they exercised, but because of the lack of nutrition, their combat effectiveness was not strong, so their common weapons were firearms. Now that they have sufficient nutrition, some of the Navy have given up fixed-power firearms and switched to swords and other real manly weapons. Everyone, long time no see. Luffy happily greeted the 153rd Branch Navy, and then he looked around, but did not find a pink-haired familiar figure. Strange, where is Kobe? You mean Kobe? He is now appreciated by Lord Garp and has been assigned to escort the criminals to the Navy headquarters with Lord Garp. And Lord Link gave Lord Garp a suggestion, and he recommended that Kobe go to Impel Down to train. He seemed to hope that Kobe could contact the prisoners as much as possible, so that he would realize the cruelty and evil of the world and not be so naive and kind. On the other hand, he could also fight more with the strong men in Impel Down to gain more knowledge. A Navy said, "Does Grandpa Garp value it?" After hearing this, Luffy shuddered. He knew very well about his grandfather's training, including but not limited to throwing him into the abyss, or putting him in the terrifying forest. Although the speed of strength improvement is indeed very fast, that process is also a nightmare that he does not want to recall at all. Although I don't know where Impel Down is, it seems that Kobe is on the right track. After thinking for a while, Luffy smiled brightly. Luffy, are you so familiar with these Navy? The long nose next to Luffy looked at the Navy nervously. They are pirates, how can they maintain such a good relationship with the Navy? Obviously he has not understood the true meaning of Grandpa Garp. Usopp, the commander of this place, is our friend. You should still remember the Navy who appeared when you defeated by Kuro and Crick before. He is the highest commander of this place, Colonel Link. Nami looked extremely solemn. She told Link about the Arlong pirates, which means that they are completely on the opposite side of the Arlong pirates. Once she fails, she can no longer imagine what the consequences will be. Luffy, Nami, Zoro, you are here. Just when Nami was extremely nervous, Link appeared in front of everyone wearing a casual beach suit and holding a coconut in his hand. Isn't this guy too casual? When seeing Link dressed like this, the Straw Hat Boys couldn't help but have the same thought in their hearts. Could it be that the strength of this Navy is far greater than that of the legendary evil dragon that is 10 times stronger than humans? Usopp and Sanji with curly eyebrows were unwilling to believe this conjecture. Among them, Usopp felt that the Navy in front of him looked a little handsome, but not fierce enough, and did not look like a powerful character. And Sanji, who has lived in the sea restaurant Baratie since he was a child, has seen more than Usopp, a boy who has always stayed in a small town. Their sea restaurant Baratie has been open in the East China Sea for many years, and the number of Navy that has been received during this period is not thousands, but hundreds. Generally, a colonel of the Four Seas Division like Link is at most at the level of 10 million pirates. Facing the dragon with a bounty of 20 million, he definitely has no way to deal with it. According to Sanji's estimation, Link can only deal with the cadres of the dragon pirates at most, which is already very good. Yes, there is really no need to be too nervous. Don't worry, Nami, we will definitely beat up the dragon pirates. Luffy laughed. Not to mention that he has seen Link's true strength. Even if he has not seen him, he will not be afraid. As for Nami, she is still trembling nervously at this moment, looking pitiful. The shadow brought to her by the dragon is too big. She still doubts whether their group can defeat the dragon. Don't worry, we are not the only ones going to fight the dragon this time. There is also a colonel from the headquarters of the Navy to help. Link noticed that Nami's mood was a little wrong, so he comforted her. Colonel of the headquarters of the Navy, is he very powerful? Nami is still a little worried. Link nodded. Of course, he is the user of the nature fruit, and those guys like the dragon can't use armament hockey. Let alone the East China Sea Road, Smoker was almost invincible even in the first half of the Grand Line. Without the domineering power of armed colors, the elementalization of the natural system is unsolvable. Unless someone like Luffy finds a corresponding method of restraint. For example, to deal with the Sha fruit, use liquid to solidify the sand, and to deal with the thunder fruit, rely on the restraint of its own fruit. As for Smoker's smoke fruit, after reading the original novel, Link didn't expect any good means to restrain him. Not to mention the evil dragon. Colonel Link, although I am very happy that you praise me like this. But I still hope that you will not hand over our Navy's information to these pirates. At this moment, a resolute man with white hair interrupted the conversation between Link and Nami. Colonel Smoker, you are finally here. Seeing who was coming, Link finally smiled. This person is none other than the White Hunter Smoker, known as the King of Abuse of Vegetables in the world. As the most abusive person in the One Piece world, Smoker's record can be said to be quite polarizing. Smoker would crush anyone who was weaker than him. When fighting against people who are stronger than him, Smoker is basically defeated. However, the evil dragon with a bounty of only 20 million is obviously weak to Smoker. With the addition of this food-crushing king, Link's planned crusade against the dragon pirates is basically safe. After seeing the Straw Hats and his gang here, Smoker knew that Link must be planning to take them with him to defeat the dragon pirates. Although it was unclear why Link was able to subdue the vicious pirates, Smoker had to admit that he alone might not be able to capture all the dragon pirates. No matter how powerful he is still a devil fruit user. The members of the dragon pirates are all fishmen. Once these shameless ones want to escape by sea, then even a devil fruit user like him wouldn't be able to follow him into the sea. Therefore, Smoker and the Straw Hat Boys are pirates similar to the Shichibukai and are naval allies. Hello, Colonel Link. Nice to meet you, my name is Dusky. Dusky's eyes lit up when he saw Link beside Smoker. Unlike Smoker, who is somewhat resistant to Link's ambiguous relationship with pirates, she did not have any objection to Link, a senior who allowed pirates to uphold justice. Instead, she admired Link for being able to take the vicious pirates under his command. In Tashi's eyes, the Straw Hats are at least much better than those Shichibukai recruited by the Navy headquarters. When the news about Link began to spread widely, she immediately went to Barati, the sea restaurant, Silib village where Usopp was born, and Orange Town to investigate the situation in case Link betrayed the Navy. From this, she learned that the Straw Hats were not only not the pirates she had imagined, but their conduct even exceeded that of most of the Navy. Being able to train the Straw Hats to be so righteous was one of the reasons why she accepted Link. Hello, Chief Dasky. I'm Link. Link smiled slightly and looked at Dusky with interest. In his opinion, compared to Smoker's low EQ who put on a bad face when he was unhappy, Dusky was obviously much more stable. She may have been dissatisfied with the pirates in her heart, but did not show excessive disgust towards the Straw Hats. Immediately afterwards, Link secretly glanced at Zoro with his peripheral vision. He was curious about Zoro's reaction when he saw Dusky in this situation. Sure enough, the moment he saw Dusky, Zoro was shocked at first, and then showed an unnatural expression, and did not dare to look at her anymore. Dusky is so similar to his childhood friend Kuina. Now that everyone is here, we can go to Cocoa West Village. Soldier, go and prepare Link's ammunition. Link said to the soldier under the cell. Yes, the Navy of Branch 153 responded immediately. Immediately afterwards, the cannonballs painted with dragon spell patterns were packed into boxes and placed on the warship. Colonel Link, is this a Link bomb? Seeing these shells that were obviously different from ordinary shells, Smoker looked confused. What is this Link bomb? Oh, this is a new type of shell that I improved myself based on the gunpowder formula of the Bucky bullet I got from killing Bucky. Link said with a smile. He is fully aware of the power of this Bucky bullet. In the original work, a single cannon can blow up almost half a town, and it can even destroy a naval warship with such power. Of course, Link couldn't let go of such a good thing easily. After all, you have to take it and use it for him. As for what he has improved, of course it is the name and the shell coating. The cannonball before looked very unfair at first glance, but now it has a new skin and is obviously much more just. Bucky bomb. Smoker smoked a cigarette. He seemed to have heard rumors that Bucky was a good bomber. However, Link seems to be really good at cultivating his subordinates. These Marines of Branch 153 seem to be of high quality. Smoker glanced around and saw that the surrounding navy was moving in an orderly manner. Each naval soldier performs his or her own duties. Some carry supplies, some inspect equipment, and some conduct pre-war drills, all preparing for the warship to sail. He does seem to be much more professional than his group of men, plus those pirates who do justice. I admit that I underestimated Link before. At first, he thought it was embarrassing for a navy to rely on pirates to capture other pirates. But now he has changed his mind. Link's talent is not in combat, but in education. Maybe after finishing the Evil Dragon, he can recommend Link to the headquarters and ask him to lead the new recruits in the Navy. Colonel Smoker, we are ready to go. Smoker was thinking about whether to recommend Link to the Navy headquarters, when he suddenly heard his adjutant Dasky calling his name. Oh, okay. Smoker nodded and got on Link's warship. After seeing Link's unusual abilities, he was somewhat able to accept Link's existence. At this moment, they and the Straw Hats are heading to Cocoa West Village to prepare for a crusade against the Dragon Pirates. Cocoa West Village, Dragon Paradise. In this weak East China Sea, there are very few humans who can compete with the fishmen. They do not need to worry about being captured as slaves, but can enjoy preferential treatment from their superiors. In this weak East China Sea, we are simply more heavenly dragons than heavenly dragons. This is all thanks to Brother Aaron. Kai Sha Jinbei doesn't understand the suffering of our fishmen at all. Only Brother Aaron is the savior of our fishmen. When we fishmen rule the entire East China Sea in the future, we will make that ignorant Jinbei jealous to death. The fishmen ate hot pot and sang songs, enjoying this beauty leisurely. Only when facing those weak here, their violence is real violence. If they were in their hometown, the New World, they would dare to do this. I'm afraid they would be caught by the slave traders the next day. Those fishmen with normal looks would be taken as slaves, and those, defective products, with abnormal looks would be directly fed to fish. Where can there be such a life for the celestial dragons who don't need to work, play every day, and can kill people for various reasons at any time when they are in a bad mood? Don't relax so much, there is still money to be collected from Cocoa West Village. It seems that the 100 million from Nami's side should also be accumulated. When the time comes, let Colonel Mouse come over and take away Nami's dirty money quickly. This sea full of weak people is simply perfect for him to bully the weak. For advanced maps like the New World, Dragon can't play well, and he doesn't know when he will be killed by passing pirates. But in the novice village of East China Sea, Dragon is invincible. He is a professional at bullying weak ones, and no one can do it. Boss along, Nami came with the navy named Link as we ordered. But the other side seems to have a lot of people. At this time, the cartilaginous fishman Kruby walked to Dragon and whispered. Not long ago, Colonel Mouse gave them 20 million to buy Link's life. For this deal, Dragon agreed directly at the time and asked Nami to call Link to Dragon Paradise. But at that time they thought Nami would need some time to complete the task, and they didn't expect the other party to come so quickly. Dragon smiled cruelly. It seems that Nami's actions are quite fast. In this case, go and kill that Link, and then go to Colonel Mouse to exchange money. Cocoa West Village, Dragon Paradise. When he learned that the Navy warship led by Nami was about to arrive, the Dragon led a group of crew members of the Dragon Pirates to the shore. Kruby, wait until these naval warships get closer and enter the attack range of our Murlocs, then take Mumu and destroy the warships directly. The evil dragon gave a calm order to his two cadres. The fishman himself is good at naval battles, not to mention that the people he sends are also good at water battles among his dragon pirates. Kruby is a master of the 40th level of human karate, and his punch is as powerful as a cannonball. The kissing Murloc can spit out a water blast that is comparable to a harpoon. Special combatant Mumu is equivalent to a smaller version of Neptune. With the three masters put together, let alone the colonel from the Sea High branch, even the colonel from the Navy headquarters would not be able to do anything. But boss, they seem to have stopped. And they seem to be preparing to fire at us. Xiaoba, the octopus fishman next to the evil dragon, looked at the Navy warship that suddenly stopped in the distance and said hesitantly. What's going on? Is it possible that Nami has betrayed you? The evil dragon frowned. I don't know, but Nami did not move at all, but this distance is not within the naval bombardment range. The fishman on the side said. They had a close relationship with Colonel Mouse before, and even told them some secrets within the Navy. Judging from the distance at which naval warships dock today, their shells should not be able to hit them from such a distance. Haha, it seems that Link is almost the same as the Mouse Colonel. He is just a loser. He doesn't even know the attack range of naval artillery shells. In this case, let me give them some greeting gifts. The evil dragon laughed, picked up the stones on the roadside, and his muscles expanded rapidly. There was only a bang sound, and the rocks shot over like cannonballs, almost hitting the naval warship and causing a huge splash beside the warship. Pity. Seeing that his attack did not hit the Navy warship, the evil dragon was not frustrated at all. After all, he is not a professional shooter, and whether he can hit the target or not depends entirely on luck. That's okay. When they realize that the shells can't hit us, they will feel scared. The evil dragon was talking triumphantly, but the next moment his pupils shrank rapidly. I saw a Navy warship lighting up its cannon. Cannonballs painted with dragon charms were shot towards the dragon paradise at an unimaginable speed. Under the shocked gaze of the evil dragon, a cannonball detonated in front of him. The huge impact and endless heat wave instantly knocked it away and smashed through the wall of the dragon paradise. Boom boom boom. Link bullets keep falling in dragon paradise. Immediately afterwards, harsh roars occurred one after another in the dragon paradise. In just a moment, the magnificent dragon paradise was reduced to ruins under the merciless fire. There are burning wreckage all around, and there are various fish-man corpses that have been turned into dried fish on the ground. On the Navy warship at the moment. When Link saw Dragon Paradise looking like a hell on earth, he didn't have any sympathy. Instead, he said, okay. I have to say that the power of this Link bullet is really far beyond Link's imagination. Just one round of shelling razed the entire Dragon Paradise to the ground. Unfortunately, the location where they stopped was still a long way from the Dragon Paradise, which gave the fishmen a chance to react. The moment they fired, some clever fishmen relied on their strong physical fitness to avoid the damage from the center of the explosion, and still maintained good combat power. The power of Link's bomb is really good. Link, this guy can actually get such a good thing. Smoker's eyes glowed with excitement when he saw this scene. If this thing can be widely promoted within the Navy, it will be much easier to encircle and suppress pirate ships in the future. Just by gently wiping it on the pirate ship, the power of the explosion blew the entire pirate ship into the sky, giving the pirates no chance to engage in a boarding battle. The Dragon Paradise has gone like this. When Nami saw everything in front of her, she felt like it was a dream. The scene of the destruction of Dragon Paradise had happened countless times in her dreams. But every time she wakes up and finds that the Dragon Paradise is still standing there, she can only feel a bone-chilling despair. But now, my dream has come true. This is not over yet, those guys still need us to deal with them. Seeing several embarrassed figures standing in the Dragon Paradise, Luffy looked serious. They had already heard about the evil dragon from Nami. As companions, they must find an explanation for Nami. I'll take you there. Smoker thought for a while, then turned into a line of smoke floating in the air and said. Their naval warships need to keep an eye on those fishmen at all times and not allow them to enter the ocean at will, so as not to prevent the other party from escaping. As a result, the offense may not have enough manpower. Although Smoker has great confidence in his own strength, he is not a brainless man. Since he has helpers to help, he will not deliberately increase the difficulty of the task. Usopp, you are here to support us at any time. The rest of us will go first. After hearing this, Luffy took the initiative to jump onto the smoke that Smoker had transformed into, not worrying that Smoker would drop him on the way. The remaining Zoro and Sanji followed one after another. The next moment, the smoke that Smoker transformed into quickly brought the three to the island. These guys actually gave up on continuing the bombardment and wanted to engage in a contact battle with us. Seeing that Smoker and others actually gave up on continuing the bombardment and took the initiative to engage in a contact battle with them. The fishmen, such as the dragon who were just beaten up by Link's bullets, were stunned at first, and then ecstatic. Humans actually dare to look down on our great fishmen, we must teach them a lesson. The anger in the dragon's eyes was hard to suppress. He had gone through so much trouble to let the dragon paradise that had cost countless human manpower to build be destroyed just like that. This in itself made him extremely annoyed. Now a mere human dared to provoke these noble fishmen. He must make these humans pay the price they deserve. Don't worry, boss, leave everything to me. Seeing Smoker and the others land, Kruby took the lead and kicked Smoker. He saw that Smoker was a devil fruit user, so he wanted to knock him into the sea. Wouldn't the other party be at his mercy at that time? However, what he didn't expect was that when his flying kick touched Smoker, he suddenly found that he didn't feel that he kicked the entity at all. What? Kruby was stunned. The king of bullying Smoker smiled disdainfully at this moment. Haha, they are just a group of useless fishmen who can't use armament hockey. White fist. The next moment, Smoker's arm turned into smoke and hit Kruby's abdomen. Just one blow made Kruby lose his fighting ability. It is true that Kruby can almost crush ordinary people in the village on weekdays. However, facing Smoker, he can only be crushed without armament hockey. It can only be said that there is a gap between the masters of bullying weaklings. The dragon on the side saw this and his face became extremely ugly. He instantly recalled the past hidden in his heart. At the beginning, he also attacked a guy with golden light on his body, but his attack could not touch the opponent at all, and then he was killed instantly by the opponent. Link, where did he find this kind of monster as a bodyguard? Run! The evil dragon roared at his men, and then flew towards the ocean. The moment he realized that Smoker turned out to be a natural monster, the evil dragon knew that he had hit a brick wall this time. Without armed domineering, it would be impossible for them to defeat the opponent, or even hurt the opponent. Although running away is shameful, it is useful. Ah, everyone, run away quickly. Octopus Hachi shouted hurriedly, and then immediately ran in a direction different from the evil dragon. Brother Aaron. Seeing the leader and cadres of the dragon pirates running away one after another, the remaining fishmen shouted anxiously. It's not that they have much backbone, they still want to fight Smoker to the death. It's just that their physical fitness is far inferior to that of the evil dragon and Octopus Hachi. In just a moment, these fishmen were intercepted by Luffy, Smoker and others. They wanted to resist, but the so-called 10 times human strength was as weak as a baby in the hands of these idiots. Luffy and the others were like wolves among sheep, knocking them to the ground in an instant. Brother Xiaoba and Brother Aaron, come and save us. The fish people shouted heartbreakingly. At this moment, they desperately hope that their boss can turn around and save them. However, when Evil Dragon and Xiaoba heard the shouts of their fellow fishmen, instead of stopping, they ran away as fast as they could in their lives. Especially the Evil Dragon. He has already had the experience of picking up soap in Impel Down City. He really didn't want to go through this experience a second time. Want to run. Bayman. Seeing that the evil dragon was about to dive into the sea, Smoker punched out, and his smoky arm showed a spiral column of smoke in an attempt to intercept the evil dragon. However, he had wasted some time catching other fishmen before, and the dragon's escape speed was indeed far faster than he imagined. Only a pop sound was heard, and finally the evil dragon got into the sea. Let this guy run into the sea. We can only hope that Link can intercept him. Smoker snorted coldly. After the fishmen enter the sea, all their abilities will be greatly improved, especially their speed, which is many times faster than humans. His smoke fruit is not like Aoki pheasant's frozen fruit, which can freeze the entire sea and trap it. Therefore, he could do nothing to face the evil dragon that had entered the sea, so he had to try his best to capture the remaining murlocs that had not yet entered the sea. Link, you actually invited a natural fruit ability user to deal with me. Nami, since you dare to betray me, I will definitely make you pay the price in the future. The evil dragon gasped and glanced at Koko Nishimura behind him with a destructive look. The dragon paradise he spent many years building was destroyed in a flash. Not only that, some of the fishmen who followed him in the struggle were killed on the spot, and some were imprisoned in Impel Down City, where they could only live in hellish pain for the rest of their lives. I will definitely come back to avenge this, the evil dragon said through gritted teeth. As a shark fishman, his physical fitness is outstanding among all fishmen, and his mobility in the sea is even more terrifying. Ordinary naval warships cannot match him in terms of speed and flexibility. And now that he is no longer bound by his territory, he can start to engage in guerrilla tactics, constantly harassing Coco West Village, and causing trouble for Nami and the others. Just wait for me, the evil dragon thought indifferently, and then immediately swam away into the distance. The dragon is escaping. Hurry up and shoot with cannons and firearms. Don't let this guy escape. At the same time, on the Navy warship, the Navy also saw the evil dragon escaping, and they all picked up their weapons and fired at the evil dragon. Even Usopp hurriedly joined in, shooting with his slingshot. Bang bang bang. Harsh explosions came one after another. Many bullets and cannonballs fell next to the dragon. The continuously exploding shrapnel scratched the dragon's tough skin, and the ocean was soaked in blood and turned blood red. However, even after suffering a lot of damage, the evil dragon still did not stop and continued to drive at the highest speed. No, the evil dragon is about to escape our attack range. Looking at the evil dragon getting further and further away, the Navy soldiers were panicked. They knew very well that once the evil dragon escaped this time, the other party would rely on the fishmen's flexibility in the sea to run around in the East China Sea. Attack that pier today, and attack another pier tomorrow. As a result, the entire East China Sea may be turned upside down. We can't let the evil dragon escape. Seeing that the evil dragon was about to escape, Nami was very worried. She knew the evil dragon's character quite well. The first thing he will do after escaping is to take revenge on Nami for betraying her. By then, their Kokoyashi village must often be retaliated by evil dragons, and there will never be peace. We have tried our best to attack him, but the speed of the fishman in the sea is too fast, and there is really nothing we can do. The Navy soldier said anxiously. Lord Link, think of a solution quickly. As soon as he finished speaking, a hurricane suddenly passed by, and something seemed to rush out. Before the Navy soldiers could react, they saw a man who could run on the sea. It's Link. How is this possible? How is it possible that someone can run on water and be so fast? Is this a step-by-step shave? But the speed is really too fast. Not even the lieutenants at the Navy headquarters can achieve such speed. When Smoker saw this scene, his eyes were as wide as bells. In the Navy headquarters, there are many Marines who can perform the moon step, and there are also many who can shave, but there are not many who can perform the moon step and shave at the same time. As for someone who could reach Link's speed and maintain it for a long time, Smoker had never seen one. I didn't expect Link to have such strength. I really made a mistake. Seeing this, Smoker's originally extremely serious face suddenly became relaxed. He knew that the evil dragon fool could no longer escape from Link's grasp. This is impossible. Feeling the waves of air coming from behind him, the evil dragon just looked back and saw a scene that made him unbelievable. Link is running on the sea behind him, and the distance between them is getting closer and closer. There are actually people who can run on the sea, and their speed can even keep up with him, a fish man. Isn't he really dreaming now? Before the evil dragon had time to think about it, in the blink of an eye, Link had completely caught up with him. Asshole, this is the sea. What do you think I am? The evil dragon showed its killing intent. Shark arrow. The evil dragon turned around and rushed towards Link like a torpedo. Fighting on the sea, as long as he is not an invincible natural ability user, as a fishman, he will not be afraid at all. But Link's actions are even more amazing. Facing the dragon's attack, Link stood motionless. Iron. The next moment, the dragon's tough as iron nose struck Link's body, instantly bending and deforming. The severe pain quickly spread from the dragon's nose to the whole body. At this moment, the evil dragon suddenly realized that the person in front of him was also a monster. Coco West Village. The villagers looked at the fishmen who were tied up by the Navy and couldn't help but exclaimed. After so many years, we are finally free. Many villagers cried with joy and sang loudly to relieve their interests that had been under pressure for many years. Fishmen, I will beat you to death. The children picked up stones on the ground and smashed them at the fishmen with all their strength, venting their emotions wantonly. Colonel Link, Thank you. Looking at the dragon pirates who had been captured, Nami's face was filled with smiles again. She came to Link and bowed deeply. So big, so white. This thank you is so exciting. Link turned his head away a little embarrassedly. The folk customs in the pirate world are too unrestrained, and he still needs some time to adapt. Colonel Link, your skills are not simple. Do you want us to spar with each other? Smoker came over, his eyes full of fighting spirit. Although Link had never demonstrated it in front of him, he believed that Link, who could use Moonstep and shave so skillfully, must have mastered the use of armament hockey. Since he was demoted to the weak East China Sea, he had not tried a few decent battles. Smoker was naturally a little thirsty after finally meeting Link, a master. Colonel Smoker, you are too powerful. I am not your opponent. Besides, don't we have other things to do? Link smiled slightly. Just now, he had obtained information from the fish people that Colonel Mouse colluded with them through some small friendly means. Since there is enough evidence, he can also go and arrest him. Indeed, I almost forgot about this, Smoker said with a cold face. Compared with the pirates who were originally on the opposite side, he hated this kind of worm in the Navy even more. Colonel Mouse must be eliminated. We must go to Colonel Mouse. What do you want to do with the remaining fishmen? Smoker glanced at the villagers of Kokoyashi village who were full of resentment. According to the rules of the Navy, these fishmen should be sent to Impel Down to pick up soap. But after hearing about the oppression and bullying of the villagers by these fishmen, Smoker felt that it seemed too easy for them to go to Impel Down to pick up soap. You know, the evil dragon was once imprisoned, but was eventually released because of the deal between the 7 warlords of the Sea Jinbei and the world government. What if this happens again? But if these fishmen are killed, it will violate the regulations of the Navy. Smoker was entangled. On the one hand, the education he had received in the past and the duties of the Navy told him that these fishmen must be imprisoned and impelled down according to the rules. But on the other hand, his heart told him that these scums were not worthy of forgiveness at all. Looking at the entangled Smoker, Link on the side showed a creepy smile. What should we do? These fishmen only raise their butcher knives against the weak, oppress and extort civilians, and have no contribution to the world. Is it possible that these scums do not deserve to die, but those villagers who work hard to live deserve to die? The evil dragon and his group of fishmen have ruled more than 20 villages around for almost 10 years. During this period, countless families were killed because they did not pay enough protection fees. Even if they can pay the protection fees every month. But for most families, in order to pay the protection fees, they almost give up all expenses except survival. Looking at Smoker who was getting more and more entangled, Link suddenly emphasized his tone. Smoker, look at Nami's clothes, which have been washed white, but she is reluctant to change them. Guess how long she has worn these clothes. She is still an 18-year-old girl. They have lived such a hard life for 10 years. Do you think they should not die? I understand. I won't see anything for a while. Smoker walked slowly to the side and smoked silently alone. At that moment, his consciousness as a Navy compromised with his heart. No, you have to follow the rules of the Navy. Navy, do you know who we are? If you dare to kill us, Brother Jinbei will not let you go. Hearing the conversation between Smoker and Link, the tied-up fishmen said in panic. Even the face of the dragon was full of fear. He liked to bully the weak, and he had no courage to face death. It was just the dignity of being the leader of the fishmen that prevented him from begging for mercy. Nagging. These threatening words of the fishmen could not shake Link's will to kill them. Pointing gun. As Link's fingertips passed, the expressions of the fishmen, including the dragon, were instantly frozen in fear. It's over. No more money. We are free. Watching the dragon and other fishmen turned into corpses, the villagers of Cocoa West Village couldn't help but shed tears slowly. Now it is the real end of the nightmare, and dawn is coming. After executing the remaining fishmen, Link patted Smoker on the shoulder. Let's go, let them celebrate, we have more important things to do. Smoker nodded and responded, yes. It's time to completely eliminate the umbrella behind the evil dragon. Then he turned his attention to Luffy and the others. Unconsciously, his perception of Luffy and the others changed. In the previous battle to capture the fishman, Luffy and the other two also played a significant role. Especially the swordsman named Zoro. It is said that he had a battle with the world's #1 swordsman Hawkeye not long ago and was seriously injured. As a result, he still desperately blocked the fishman from escaping. This was the first time he could see the shining humanity in the pirates. Smoker sighed in his heart. Link's black gloves are really well trained. Although their current strength is still a little lacking, their potential is extraordinary. I believe that after Link's training in the future, they should become even more powerful. It's a pity that if the 7 warlords of the sea were not full now. Otherwise, we can try to nominate them to become the 7 warlords of the sea. These guys are obviously more reliable than the 7 warlords of the sea now. East China Sea, 16th branch of the Navy. A wretched man who looked like a mouse was sitting on a recliner, staring blankly at the Den Den Mushi in front of him. This man was Colonel Mouse. I wonder if that dragon guy has finally gotten rid of Link. How can I make money without worrying about him? Colonel Mouse looked melancholy, and subconsciously picked up the banknotes beside him and began to count them. Whenever the banknotes passed through his fingertips, he would feel a different kind of satisfaction. Money, money, money. As long as Link was eliminated, he could make more money. However, at this moment, a shrill whistle sounded throughout the 16th branch of the Navy. What's going on? Colonel Mouse was about to look out the window with a puzzled look on his face. As a result, the next second, the door of his office was kicked away by a bang. Smoker and Link appeared in front of him. Colonel Mouse, you are in trouble. Lord Smoker, why are you here? When he saw Smoker and Link appearing in front of him at the same time, Colonel Mouse's mind was buzzing, and he didn't know why Smoker came here. Although both of them are colonels, Smoker is a colonel directly under the Navy headquarters. The military rank status of the Sea High branch is naturally 3 levels lower than that of the Navy headquarters. Naturally, Colonel Mouse couldn't raise his head in front of Smoker, looking frightened. But soon, relying on years of professional experience in dealing with superiors, Colonel Mouse quickly recovered his emotions and decisively ran to Smoker's side with a flattering smile on his face. Colonel Smoker, if you want to come to Branch 16, just let me know. You see, I have no preparations here. Colonel Mouse pressed a button on his desk. The next moment, the door opened again, and a Navy man walked into the office carrying boxes of high-end cigars. Colonel Smoker, these are some small local products grown at home, which are a little bit of my subordinate's gratitude. Colonel Mouse carefully placed the high-end cigar in front of Smoker. Long before Smoker came to the East China Sea, Colonel Mouse used his connections to investigate Smoker's preferences. For the Navy with the highest status in the East China Sea, Colonel Mouse naturally prepared gifts for him in advance. However, Smog has been staying in Rog Town since he came to the East China Sea, so he has not sent out the gifts. Are you still trying to bribe me? Just like you bribed the rest of the Navy. Smoker had an angry look on his face. Do you know what crime you have committed? This, feeling the oppressive feeling emanating from Smoker's body, Colonel Mouse suddenly stiffened, as if a mouse saw a cat, and all the muscles in his body became stiff. He finally realized that Smoker's visit this time was not for anything else, but to sanction him for corruption and bribery. Link is born evil. This guy must have told Colonel Smoker about my corruption in advance. Colonel Mouse looked at Link out of the corner of his eye, and found that Link was smiling but not smiling at this moment, looking very needy. He was furious inside. At this moment, Colonel Mouse did not know that the dragon pirates had been completely wiped out by Link and Smoker. I thought the evil dragon had taken the money, but before he could do anything, Link took advantage of him. What should I do now? That guy Link must have explained everything to Colonel Smoker. The more sweat formed on Colonel Mouse's forehead. He didn't know exactly what information Link had about him, nor how much information Link had informed Smoker. But no matter what, it seems that he has only one choice at the moment, and that is to bite himself to death for not being corrupt. And he bites Link back, making Colonel Smoker think that the other person is not a good person, so that he has a chance to avoid punishment. Thinking of this, Colonel Mouse was heartbroken, and he put on a righteous and awe-inspiring look and said to Smoker, Colonel Smoker, you may have been in Rog Town for too long, so you don't know. Link is the protective umbrella behind the Straw Hats, the largest evil force in the East China Sea. I request that he be immediately arrested and brought back to the Navy headquarters for trial. No evil forces can be allowed to continue to exist. Quote. Quote. As soon as Colonel Mouse finished speaking, Smoker and Link were silent for a moment, then looked at each other, and then laughed together. Colonel Smoker, what are you? Seeing the unusual actions of Smoker and Link, an ominous premonition filled Colonel Mouse's heart. Okay, Colonel Mouse, the Straw Hats are just a group of pirates with no bounty on their head, not the biggest evil force. If you insist on saying that the largest evil force in the East China Sea, based on the bounty, shouldn't it be the dragon pirates that you colluded with? Quote. Link interrupted the Mouse Colonel's words, and then spoke slowly. Colonel Mouse suddenly felt like a mouse whose tail had been stepped on, jumping up and down in anxiety. Colonel Smoker, this is a naked slander against me. Who in the Navy in the East China Sea doesn't know that the area I am responsible for, Captain Mouse, has always been the best and has the lowest crime rate? How could a righteous Marine like me collude with pirates? Quote. Okay, Colonel Mouse, don't waste your efforts. Link looked at Colonel Mouse with a playful expression, and then said to him, why don't you try and see if you can get through the dragon's phone? It has to be said that the psychological quality of this Colonel Mouse is surprisingly good. Even though he had guessed in his heart that Colonel Smoker came to him with a high probability of getting information, he still dared to confuse right and wrong here in an attempt to turn the tables. No wonder he has the guts to cooperate with forces like the dragon pirates. Can't get through the evil dragon. What do you mean? Upon hearing this, Colonel Mouse's pupils shrank. He suddenly seemed to realize something, and the expression on his face became extremely frightened. Actually, I don't mean anything else, I just want to tell you that the dragon pirates have been completely wiped out. Before that, they had already exposed you, saying that you cooperated with them to defraud the common people for treasure. Here is also the receipt that the evil dragon specially left behind because you were afraid of uneven distribution of the spoils. Quote. As Link spoke, he threw a pile of bills in front of Colonel Mouse. The receipt was signed and stamped by Colonel Mouse. In fact, both Colonel Mouse and Dragon are extremely greedy. Such cooperation between people is naturally full of mutual distrust. Because of this, both sides must have the other's handle in their hands, so as to ensure that the relationship between them is not so easy to break. However, what Colonel Mouse couldn't believe was that the dragon who once lived in the Grand Line was defeated in a small place like the East China Sea. And the receipt of his transaction with the other party also fell into Link's hands at this moment, which meant that he had no chance of turning the tables. Link, you are really good at it. You are worthy of being a guy who can control a powerful pirate group. This time I admit defeat. Colonel Mouse took a deep breath, and when he raised his head, his eyes were full of madness. He took out a musket from his clothes at lightning speed, and then pointed the black muzzle at Link. Even if I want to die, you can't think of living. Bang! Sparks flew. A fast special bullet suddenly shot out from the muzzle, trying to take Link's life. Then at this moment, Link stretched out his hand. There was only a pop sound, and the bullet shot by Colonel Mouse was immediately hit back by Link at the same speed, and finally pierced Colonel Mouse's head. Colonel Mouse is dead. For Link's behavior, Smoker did not dwell on his way of dealing with it this time. This kind of guy staying in the city of Push is just a waste of food. He picked up the Den Mushi on the table and called the Navy, who was still on standby outside. Colonel Mouse has committed suicide out of fear of crime. Now come and count the illegal income of the 16th branch as soon as possible. Navy Branch 153. It was already 3 days after the incident of eradicating the evil dragon and Colonel Rat. Congratulations to Link for successfully destroying the dragon pirates and successfully dealing with the betrayer Colonel Mouse. Your rank has been promoted to Captain of the Navy Headquarters. I hope you can continue to work hard and make more contributions to justice. Thank you, sir, I will try my best. Link responded with a cheerful look on his face. Originally, he thought that he would be promoted to the rank of Commodore of the Sea High Branch at most, but he never thought that he would be directly transformed into the Colonel of the Navy Headquarters. According to the rules of the One Piece world, the same rank in the Navy Headquarters is 3 levels higher. This is equivalent to completing 3 consecutive jumps, 1 level higher than the original promotion to Commodore of the Shikai branch. I didn't expect that I could complete this small task and complete the triple jump. I originally thought that I would have to wait until Luffy and the others overturned the sand crocodile in Alabasta before they could be promoted to the Navy headquarters. Then in the future, after Luffy kills Crocodile, wouldn't it be possible for me to be promoted to Commodore of the Navy headquarters like Smoker in the original book? Quote. Link thought in his mind. But in fact, he didn't know whether Luffy could defeat Crocodile this time. In the original work, the reason why Luffy was able to defeat Crocodile was because of the plot killing of the blood-locking plugin. After all, according to his performance in the Top War, Crocodile's strength can fully match the elite lieutenant generals of the Navy headquarters. Even Link, who has now mastered armament hockey, dare not say that he can defeat the opponent. If Luffy really can't defeat the opponent by then, it wouldn't be a strange thing. Forget it, I've helped him enough, and I'll leave the remaining hard bones to him to solve on his own. Anyway, that guy is as talented in fighting as the Saiyans, and every battle is just a rare experience package for him. Quote. Link muttered to himself. At the Kokoja gathering a day ago, he had already written a pamphlet on how to cultivate armament hockey and knowledge hockey and gave it to Luffy. I believe that Luffy's strength will be higher than in the original work. I just don't know if the other party can dissuade Ace and prevent the events of the war from happening. If Luffy fails to stop Ace in the future, and the war on the top will still happen in the future, then they will have to face each other. Colonel Link, congratulations, now we are in the same position in the Navy. While Link was thinking, Smoker came over and handed Link a white cloak with, Justice, engraved on it. This is a cape specially made by the Navy headquarters according to Link's figure. It is many times better than the ordinary cape that Link wore before, which was just standard for the Four Seas branch. Colonel Smoker, you are not in Rog Town. Is it possible that my 3 consecutive job jumps have something to do with you? Link saw Smoker actually appearing and made a joke. It has something to do with me, Smoker said slowly. Link couldn't help but be stunned when he heard Smoker agreed. You were just joking, but you didn't expect it to be true. What, you still have this face? Link didn't believe it. If the other party really had this kind of face, he wouldn't have been demoted to the East China Sea in the first place. I recommended you to the Navy headquarters, but that was also because you were strong enough. As for why you can jump 3 times in a row, it was recommended by a senior officer in the Navy. Quote. Smoker gave Link a slightly thoughtful look. It seems to be saying that you are pretending. You keep pretending. It turns out that you are the one who hides the deepest. In fact, Smoker had some doubts about Link's identity at the beginning. After all, such proficiency in the 6 styles is not something that ordinary Marines can master. Even in the elite naval training camp where he originally studied, there were not many Marines who could master any of the 6 moves. He had never seen anyone like Link who could master multiple 6 forms with such proficiency. At first, he thought Link was a talented and self-taught man. But after that person asked Link to jump 3 levels in a row, he realized that Link should be that disciple. Okay, Link, stop pretending, I already know your relationship with that adult. After hearing about your incident, that adult left his heavy work and rushed over to see you in person. Come with me. Quote. Smoker looked at Link, who was still pretending to be speechless, and waved his hand to signal him to follow him. The higher-ups at the Navy headquarters asked me to triple jump. Am I related to that adult? Who is that adult? Link looked confused and his head was buzzing. How come he didn't even know that he was related to the top brass of the Navy? Forget it. Just take a look and you'll know who the senior naval officer is. Link took a deep breath and slowly followed Smoker. Soon, Smoker took him to a Navy warship. The moment he saw the dog-headed shape of the warship, Link instantly realized who the so-called top brass was. Lieutenant General Garp. Before Link could show his surprise, the Navy on the side burst into deafening cheers when they saw Vice Admiral Garp appearing on the warship. Are you Link? Garp stepped off the warship and looked at a somewhat nervous Link with a meaningful smile. I heard that you made a lot of money by using my grandson. Are you treating my grandson as your black glove? Hearing that Garp seemed to have a bad tone, Link said nervously, ha ha ha. Vice Admiral Garp misunderstood, I just cooperated with your grandson. Really? Garp suddenly came in front of Link and stared at him very seriously. Just when Link was quite nervous, Garp suddenly laughed and gave him a thumbs up. Good boy, you did a great job. Since my grandson met that red-haired guy, he has been clamoring to be a pirate every day. I beat him every day, trying to make him change his mind. But that guy is like a stubborn donkey and doesn't listen to me at all. He is determined to be a pirate. I didn't expect you to have something. Although he didn't completely pull him into the ranks of the Navy, he also helped the Navy do a lot of things and maintained justice for the Navy. Whether he can be completely recruited into the Navy in the future depends on you, Link. Garp patted Link's shoulder hard and cast an approving look at him. In his opinion, he had educated Luffy for such a long time, but it had no effect. However, Link only had several contacts with Luffy, and he was able to get Luffy to cooperate with the Navy. If we round it off, isn't that equivalent to Luffy being a Navy? If he let Link have more contact with Luffy, he might really be able to bring Luffy back to be a Navy. That scene is beautiful just to think about. Sorry, I don't have that ability. Your grandson is destined to become the Pirate King. Single quote. Link wanted to reply to Garp like this, but he finally held back this sentence and responded. Okay, Vice Admiral Garp. I will definitely ask him to help the Navy more and eradicate those pirates who endanger civilians. Good, very energetic. Looking at Link with a righteous face, Garp showed a satisfied look. Perhaps only such a person can bring his troublesome grandson back on the right track. By the way, Link and I have some private matters to discuss. Smoker, take the Navy to daily training as soon as possible. Garp waved his hand and said, yes. Smoker nodded in agreement with a cool look on his face, and then left immediately with a group of Navy. In just a few minutes, Garp and Link were the only ones left in the huge naval port. When there was no one around, Garp put away his carefree smile and slowly said to Link. I heard from Smoker that your strength seems to be pretty good, and you have mastered all 6 styles. Although I don't know why you have been hiding your strength, I have helped you hide it when Smoker reported to me. Link was stunned when he heard Garp's words. I didn't expect Garp to take the initiative to help him hide it. The main reason why he hid his strength was to prevent himself from being too strong and being sent to be a bodyguard for the celestial dragons. But in the event of capturing the evil dragon, the combat power he showed to Smoker was actually at most the level of a colonel in the Marine headquarters. This kind of strength is basically impossible to be valued by the celestial dragons, and normally there is no need to hide it. But he also knew that Garp was kind-hearted, and from the final result, it had no effect on him. Therefore, Link thanked Garp. Oh, don't thank me. Garp said enthusiastically. By the way, Link boy, do you want to spar with me? Vice Admiral Garp, do you want to spar with me? Link was stunned again, and then a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. Being able to fight with the world's top combat power and experience how big the gap is, without having to bear the threat of life. This kind of good thing is not always available. I do. Very good, I'll take you to a place. Garp laughed. The next moment, he jumped into the sea and then ran on the sea. Are you testing me? Seeing Garp's action, Link did not hesitate at all. He immediately jumped into the sea like Garp, and ran as fast as he could behind Garp using the moon step. His speed was only a little slower than Garp. This kid is really good at the moon step. What's more important is that he hasn't even been to the Navy's training camp yet. Garp ran on the sea using the moon step while observing Link using his observation hockey. Unlike Smoker, who could only judge Link's identity by guessing, Garp, as a high-ranking member of the Navy, had the power to investigate any Navy files. It was easy for him to find out Link's background. He was just an ordinary Navy man whose parents were martyrs and joined the Navy when he grew up. He completed the study of the 6 styles with a free booklet of 6 styles training distributed by the Navy headquarters. You know, although the 6 styles are not a difficult skill to learn, it is not something that an ordinary Navy who grew up in the East China Sea, has no background, and has never received formal training can do. The only explanation is that Link is a rare genius. This is a good seedling. We can't bury him. Thinking of this, Garp's heart became hot. Ever since Roger said, "Do you want my treasure? If you want, take it all," this world has entered the era of pirates. The first choice of most potential new generations to go to sea is to become a pirate, not a Navy. This result has also led to a serious gap in the Navy's combat power. The new generation has not had good seedlings like Akainu, Aokiji, and Kizaru for a long time. Now he has finally met a new generation Navy with terrifying talents like Link, so naturally he doesn't want to let him go. We are here. After running on the sea for about 30 minutes, Garp stopped on a small island, and then turned to look at Link who was following him. His eyes were filled with anticipation. Link, you go first. Garp said excitedly. Okay. Link took a deep breath. He also knew that Garp looked amiable, but in fact he was very heavy-handed. If he didn't make the first move, he might never have another chance. Armament hockey. Link accumulated his hockey in his feet, then jumped into the air and kicked hard. His leg force rolled up the vacuum to form a huge bird-shaped shockwave to slash. Stormfoot Divine Bird. This is an improved Stormfoot extension skill by Link based on the Stormfoot Armored Bird of Lucci in the original book. Compared with the original version, it is faster and more concentrated. Like the Stormfoot Armored Bird of Lucci in the original book, although it looks like it can cut through a huge warship in one breath, the momentum is extremely huge, but in fact the damage is too dispersed, and it will be scratched if it encounters a master. It can be said that Link's current strength and 6 style skills have far surpassed Lucci in the original book's Judicial Island chapter. Haha, come on. Even if you only know this one move, the guy who claims to be the strongest in CP9 for 800 years is not your opponent. Garp laughed. When the shock wave of a flying bird-like slash approached him, he felt a stinging sensation, which could make him feel like this. The edge of this slash was not weaker than that of an ordinary great swordsman. Fist Bone Iron Fist. Garp's arm bulged with terrifying muscles, and he punched Link's kick, instantly tearing apart Link's attack. Immediately afterwards, Garp's fist was suddenly covered with jet-black armament-colored hockey and he punched Link. The aftermath of the fist's strength directly blasted the air. Does Garp want to beat me to death? When Link saw this scene, his pupils could not help but shrink. Talking about a good discussion between friends, this Laodang actually acted so harshly. Bang! Link raised his right arm, covered in weaponry, and firmly withstood Garp's iron fist. However, the next second he felt a terrifying impact explode on his arm, and then his entire body turned into a cannonball and shot into the island, smashing a large number of trees. He is actually armed with hockey. The quality of hockey is not low. It seems that I have underestimated this brat. Seeing Link getting up in embarrassment, even Garp couldn't help but show a hint of surprise. Even if Smoker came, he couldn't withstand the blow he just struck. Garp didn't expect that Link could be more powerful than the serious Colonel Smoker of the Navy headquarters. He was probably not as strong as a Commodore of the Navy headquarters. Do you have any other tricks up your sleeve? Just use them all. There's no need to worry about my old man getting hurt. Garp looked at Link with excitement in his eyes. He seemed to see hope for the Navy to rise again. If his perception was correct, Link seemed to have tried his best at this moment, but in fact he still had a trump card that he had not yet used. He was curious about what Link's hidden power was. Hidden power. Link remained silent and looked at Garp calmly. Garp's perception was correct. He did have hidden power, power from other worlds. Vice Admiral Garp, you have to be careful next time. The speed of a rabbit. The next moment, a rabbit shadow flashed in Link's eyes. Link suddenly burst out at a very fast speed, and the black iron fist hit Garp's chest, bursting out with a sharp explosion. With only a bang, Garp took a few steps back and looked at Link with approval. What a fast speed. This is not just shaving. Shaving is just a special skill, which is to move at high speed by stepping on the ground dozens of times at high speed to generate explosive reaction force. In addition to shaving, his body movements just now seemed to be suddenly accelerated. Could it be the ability of some devil fruit? But when he ran over just now, he clearly touched the sea water. Before Garp figured out what happened, Link's next round of attack had already begun. This time it was the power of the bull. As the shadow in Link's eyes changed from rabbit to cow, Link's hands were stained with the black color of the armed color, and he smashed towards Garp. Come on! Garp roared, his hands were also stained with black, and then he rushed towards Link. Boom boom boom. The fists of both sides attacked fiercely, and every fight shook the air. What a great power. This power doesn't seem normal. Garp's eyes were full of surprise. No matter how knowledgeable he was, he had never seen such a strange ability of Link. He had already used 50% of his strength, but Link's strength was actually on par with him. You know, in terms of strength alone, he is already comparable to the level of those giant vice admirals in the headquarters of the Navy. In other words, Link's strength is not inferior to the gifted giants. This can no longer be described as a genius, it can be described as a monster. Moreover, this may not be Link's limit. Garp can still feel that Link is still holding back. Just when he wanted to add pressure to Link to force him to reveal his trump card, Link suddenly jumped to the side and raised his hands. Okay, Vice Admiral Garp, let's stop here. I surrender. What? How can you surrender as a man? Hearing this, Garp had a big, well, on his forehead and immediately questioned. He wanted to continue fighting to force Link to show his full strength. But Link was unwilling to continue fighting. Vice Admiral Garp, the battle just now has consumed all my physical strength, and I can't continue fighting. In fact, what he said was not wrong. The use of the speed magic corresponding to the rabbit and the strength magic corresponding to the cow had consumed a lot of his physical strength. After all, these abilities are not essentially the ability rules of the pirate world. Although these abilities can still be used because of Link's own special characteristics, their effects in this world are undoubtedly greatly weakened, and the consumption is also greatly increased. With his remaining strength, Link felt that even if he used the remaining abilities, he would not be able to threaten Garp. There was indeed a big gap between the two of them. Link felt that unless he mastered the yin-yang balance magic corresponding to the tiger spell, so that he could cast multiple spells at the same time, he would not have the slightest chance of defeating Garp. After hearing Link's explanation, Garp nodded. In that case, forget it. He could also see that Link's performance just now was not normal, but he used some special means. As for whether this special means was a devil fruit or some special secret technique, Garp did not ask. You are so strong, kid. I originally planned to take you as my apprentice, but now I have changed my mind. Garp looked at Link with a complicated expression. If Link's talent was a little worse, he would not hesitate to train him to be the second generation of Garp, so that he could take over his position in the future. However, the potential shown by Link was really too great. In Garp's view, Link's future achievements are likely to be more than just a legendary vice admiral. If you intervene too much, it may affect Link's future development. I will stay in the East China Sea this week. You can come to this island every day. I will teach you some understanding of domineering. Garp said slowly. He is still quite confident about his understanding of domineering. Thank you, Vice Admiral Garp. Link's eyes flashed with excitement. Hockey is the most important part of the combat power of the pirate world. In the pirate world, if you want to be a strong man, you don't need to have an extremely powerful devil fruit, or master superb swordsmanship, but you must master a strong enough domineering. Among them, armament hockey and observation hockey, Link has already achieved some success. Only the domineering. Link doesn't know whether he has this qualification, and he doesn't know how to use it. And this domineering is the most critical one of the three colors of domineering. According to the version in the original book, the domineering color entanglement is the ticket to the top powerhouse of the four emperors. To put it more bluntly, if you don't learn the domineering hockey entanglement, there is basically no way you can become a top-level powerhouse. If Garp can help Link tap into his own overlord-colored hockey, it will be a big help. With hope for the future, Link returns to the naval base. After fighting Garp, his body was completely exhausted. There was no way to practice in this state, so Link planned to sleep directly. As night fell slowly, Link gradually fell into sleep and came to that palace again. This time, the Rolling Ball Beast Link, Hokage Link, and Chen-Long Adventure Link did not appear, only the full-time hunter was here. Even Pirate Link always felt that something had changed in the appearance of full-time hunter Link, and he almost didn't recognize it. The strange thing is that the Pirate Link can't tell what exactly has changed in the full-time hunter Link, but he just feels like he has added a beauty filter and looks a lot more handsome. Full-time hunter Link, what's wrong with you? Pirate Link asked in surprise. Actually, it's nothing. It's just that after my last trip here and back, my telekinesis ability finally awakened. Link, the full-time hunter, responded with a smile. Come and fist bump, this time it's finally my turn to contribute some strength to you. Then it's up to you to lead the boss away from now on. Pirate Link laughed. The two quickly fist-bumped each other and quickly completed the fusion of memories. I didn't expect your telekinesis ability to be that of a celestial beast. Pirate Link looked at full-time Hunter Link with envy. What do you have to envy? Aren't all the women in the pirate world with extreme S-shaped figures that are completely unergonomic? Even if we are envious, it should be that we envy you. Quote. The full-time Hunter Link was speechless and said to the Pirate Link. It's true. Pirate Link smiled awkwardly and quickly changed the subject. So, what are full-time Hunter Link's plans to do in the future? Since you rejected the brigade's invitation, will you always be a doctor in Meteor Street? According to the shared memory, Link, a full-time hunter, has been working as a doctor in Meteor Street to make money since he awakened the telekinesis ability of Celestial Beast. After discovering the abilities of full-time Hunter Link, the brigade also tried to invite full-time Hunter Link to join the brigade, but Link refused. It's similar to your side. You have to use violence to save Meteor Street. Being a doctor can't change Meteor Street. My goal is to be a hunter first, then go to the Dark Continent to gain power, and eventually become V5. No, it should be the leader of V6. Link, a full-time hunter, answered truthfully. Before he got the shared talent, if he hadn't gotten some help from people who had been to Meteor Street, he would have probably died there. Although the help from those people was just to allow Link to collect more garbage. In this way, everyone's garbage is collected together and packaged together to make it easier to sell. But it is undeniable that this small contribution helped the weak Link survive and persist until the arrival of Goldfinger. Then I wish you success and feel free to use my power. Pirate Link patted the full-time Hunter Link on the shoulder. Every Link has a different dilemma, and naturally he also has a different dream. All the other Links can do is help each other and strive to make every Link reach the perfect ending. Meteor Street. It already became a garbage collection center about 1,500 years ago. Because there is garbage everywhere, including many toxic and harmful garbage, residents of Meteor Street need to wear protective clothing and gas masks for a long time to protect their health as much as possible. However, many people living here simply do not have that much money to buy protective clothing and gas masks. Therefore, about 42% of the residents in the community are suffering from diseases, making it a veritable hell on Earth. But a dozen days ago, this situation changed. A Meteor Street resident named Link not only uses his medical skills to heal people's physical aspects, but also uses his wonderful speeches to bring hope to the barren hearts of the Meteor Street residents. Xiaodi, are you going to listen to Link's speech today too? A beautiful purple-haired girl asked the black-haired girl next to her who was many times plumper than her. Yes, Madge, I always feel that what he said seems to have some truth. It seems to be a different route to saving Meteor Street than the leader. Xiaodi nodded, not denying that she was going to listen to Link's speech next. Xiaodi, you have to remember that the brigade's route is the only one that can save Meteor Street. The big man Wo Jin on the side said with some dissatisfaction. Just think about it, since our brigade has become a high-risk Class A criminal, we people in Meteor Street are much safer walking outside than before. Previously, if we people from Meteor Street dared to go out, it would be easy for those outsiders to think that we had germs on our bodies and beat them to death. But no one dares to do this now, because they all know that those who dare to bully our Meteor Street for no reason will suffer revenge from our phantom troop. As for the inside of Meteor Street, if it weren't for us, Meteor Street would probably still be the same hopeless place. Could that Link do better than this? Quote, however, I feel that what Link said still makes sense. Xiaodi said. So, what did that guy say? Madge asked curiously. The members of their phantom troop are all determined people, even the seemingly dull Xiaodi. So what did Link say to make Xiaodi fascinated? I don't remember exactly what Link said, but I remember the feeling at the beginning. I seemed to see a beam of light, and then my blood felt hot. I felt that he was just. Xiaodi said timidly. Her brain is not working well and she has very severe amnesia. Therefore, she couldn't remember what exactly Link said, but she clearly remembered the feeling of listening to Link's speech. It was the feeling of sunshine shining on her body, full of hope. Justice. Hearing Xiaodi's words, the brigade members present were stunned for a moment, and then burst into laughter. No wonder they laughed. The name, Main Justice, is really inconsistent with the style of this area of Meteor Street. Whether it is the outside world's impression of Meteor Street or their own judgment of Meteor Street, there is no justice. The members of the Phantom Troop never believed that their actions were just. Forget it, let's go and listen. I hope we didn't hear that boy's holy mother's speech. Nobunaga, who was wearing a long sword on his waist in the brigade, said with a cold face. In his opinion, the speeches given by doctors like Link are probably some bullshit like persuading people to be good. Then everyone should go and listen. Wo Jin said, if this guy wants to destroy the peace of Meteor Street now, I will personally send him to hell. Okay. Wo Jin's words were supported by all the members of the brigade present. As soon as they said it, all the members of the brigade asked Xiao Di to lead the way to the place where Link was giving a speech, and found that Link was giving a speech. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand here, standing on the land of Meteor Street. This is a place that has been listed as a garbage dump by other countries without our permission. We who were born on this land have no dignity. People outside look at us like garbage. Maybe you will say, Mr. Link, what I need is to live, what I need is a piece of bread. Yes, life is undoubtedly important. But there is something more important than life in this world, that is dignity. As long as other countries still regard our Meteor Street as a garbage dump, our dignity does not exist. As long as people from other countries talk about us in a chat, they will laugh contemptuously and say that we are just a group of garbage people, then our dignity does not exist. So, go to the Dark Continent with me to seek power. As long as we have enough power, we can defend our dignity. Let them all know that Meteor Street is not a landfill where they throw garbage at will. We people in Meteor Street also have dignity. The next moment, the whole audience of Meteor Street was excited. They seemed to see other countries recognize that the residents of Meteor Street are human beings, and Meteor Street will no longer be a landfill in the future. The members of the brigade were confused. Why does Link's speech sound more radical than their brigade's behavior? Chapter 31. This guy is too radical. Does he want to save Meteor Street or destroy it? When Link was giving a speech, Nobunaga in the audience could not help sweating when he heard Link's speech. Going to the Dark Continent, isn't that courting death? I think Link is not bad. At least he is not as naive as our original brigade. He wants to fight. After listening to Link's speech, Wo Jin slowly spoke. The reason why their leader Kuroro established the Phantom Troop was not to create a criminal gang. When they were young, Kuroro was just a voice actor who loved dubbing. He recruited a group of like-minded companions and was determined to spread some excellent works to the world in the form of drama, so that people outside could recognize Meteor Street. And this drama group is called Brigade. However, the Hunter world itself is a very distorted world. What Kuroro got in return for his efforts was the malice from the world. One of their companions named Sarasa was targeted by the gang. When Kuroro found him later, he had turned into pieces and was put in a black garbage bag. It was at that time that the original brigade officially became the Phantom Troop. The Phantom Troop has two goals in the future. The first goal is to avenge their dead companion, Sarasa. The second goal is to protect Meteor Street. The method they chose is to make the Phantom Troop a criminal group that everyone is afraid of, so that others dare not easily attack the people of Meteor Street. But the forces they are dealing with are only some gangs, hunters and other forces. The purpose is to prevent those gangs and other forces from reaching out to Meteor Street. The purpose revealed by Link's speech at this moment is to master the power to directly change the identity of the Meteor Street landfill, transform it into a real area, and prevent other countries from dumping garbage on Meteor Street. This is very similar to the purpose of their brigade, but it is more radical and dangerous. Is it possible to succeed? The same idea emerged in the minds of the members of the brigade. In the Hunter world, the power of each kingdom is very terrifying. Just a bomb called Rose, that they had heard of seemed to be able to directly raise an entire area to the ground. Can they really resist such power? Link's answer to this question is that there is the power they need in the Dark Continent. But now the V5 organization, which is composed of the 5 most powerful countries, clearly stipulates that it is not allowed to explore the Dark Continent, and has signed a treaty not to set foot in the Dark Continent. In normal ways, they have no possibility of exploring the Dark Continent. Unless one day there is a force that even the V5 organization dare not offend easily and has not signed a treaty not to go to the Dark Continent, suddenly declares that it wants to go to the Dark Continent. Then they have a little chance to follow to the Dark Continent and obtain the power that is enough to change the status of Meteor Street. Although Link's idea of directly changing the essence of Meteor Street is good, it is also a dream that is impossible to achieve. Nobunaga sighed. In his opinion, Link's idea is undoubtedly a daydream. Then what should we do next? Should we stop him from talking? Maki asked coldly. Quote. Everyone fell into silence. Although they didn't think what Link said could happen, they had to admit that the scene Link described was too beautiful. The people in their brigade never dared to think about turning Meteor Street from a landfill in many countries into a normal area. The picture that Link described was undoubtedly better than the goal that their brigade had always longed for, which was to make the outside world fear Meteor Street forever. So at this moment, none of the members of the brigade present made a sound, and only silence remained. Link is really powerful, he is probably not a born devil. After a long time, Nobunaga sighed and said with a wry smile. Rationally speaking, if Link's words of mobilizing to go to the Dark Continent were conveyed to the ears of the V5 organization, the consequences would be unpredictable. So if they want to preserve Meteor Street 100%, then killing Link and making him shut up forever is the best choice. However, when Nobunaga heard Link's passionate shout and the scene he described, he couldn't convince himself to do it. We can choose not to kill him. But no matter what, we can't let him stay in Meteor Street. If we don't let Kuroro know, there will be no chance of Link surviving. Maki, who was standing by, could see that no one wanted to kill Link, so she took a step back and said. In her opinion, if she wanted Link not to die, she could only drive him out of Meteor Street to prevent him from continuing to deceive the residents of Meteor Street. Otherwise, when Kuroro found out about Link, Kuroro would definitely use absolute rational thinking, judge Link as a threat, and kill him mercilessly in the end. After all, in Kuroro's eyes, even if it was his own life, once it threatened the safety of the brigade in Meteor Street, he would directly choose to abandon it, let alone Link's life. Then let's go and talk to him. Nobunaga replied. Yeah, Wojin nodded. The two of them, along with a group of brigade members, squeezed into the center of the square where Link was giving a speech. And Link soon discovered the other party. Brigade, what's the matter with you? Link asked with a frown. Nobunaga felt that Link seemed to have a faint dislike for their brigade. Hey, Wojin grinned, and he also felt that Link's attitude towards their brigade was unfriendly. As one of the most popular fans of the brigade leader, in his heart, the brigade and Kuroro are both sacred and inviolable. The moment he felt Link's attitude, his inner anger was instantly ignited. I originally wanted to ask you to leave in a more gentle way, but now it seems that I still have to teach you a lesson before throwing you out. Just as Wojin's voice fell, he suddenly raised his hand and grabbed Link's arm, trying to restrain it. However, before Wojin grabbed Link, he felt his eyes blurred, and then a huge force came from his chest. Bang! The next moment, the huge body of Wojin retreated several steps, almost unable to keep himself steady, and fell directly to the ground. What a great power! Is this guy really not a reinforcement type? Wojin got up from the ground, his face full of shock. He knew that Link's ability was a beast of mind. Generally speaking, this kind of beast of mind user should be a release type, a transformation type, and a materialization type. As a result, Link, this kid, was able to knock him away, which shows that the opponent's physical fitness is no less than that of the reinforcement type. It's interesting. Wojin's eyes flashed with excitement, and when he raised his fist and was about to continue to fight, Nobunaga stopped him. Okay, Wojin, we didn't come here to fight. I know. Wojin, who was intercepted, glared at Link, and finally retreated behind Nobunaga. Nobunaga took a deep breath and said to Link straight to the point. Link, I hope you don't continue to spread this kind of thought. It is impossible to enter the Dark Continent, and you will bring disaster to Meteor Street if you do so. Since the anime of Hunter x Hunter has only been released to the Ant chapter. So, some news may not be clear to you. I will add here, hoping to bring you a better experience. The story about the origin of the group in this chapter comes from the 397th episode of Hunter x Hunter, the Dark Continent chapter. It is not made up by me. You can search and watch it on major video websites for details. Is it impossible to go to the Dark Continent? Hearing Nobunaga's words, Link couldn't help but smile. This year is December 1998 in the Hunter world. Next year, 1999, is the timeline of Xiaoji's adventure in the original Hunter x Hunter. According to the development of the original timeline, in the middle of 2001, the Kakin Empire, which has not signed the Treaty of Not Invading the Dark Continent, will recruit people to go to the Dark Continent. The V5 organization is afraid of the strength of the Kakin Empire and has no way to stop it. It even wants to stop the Kakin Empire by absorbing it into the organization to become V6, but it has not succeeded. When that time comes, it will be a good opportunity for Link to go to the Dark Continent. The reason why he is giving a speech on Meteor Street at this moment is that he wants to see if he can find some suitable teammates on Meteor Street to go to the Dark Continent together. And now Link seems to have seen a suitable candidate appear. "Madam, do you want to join my team?" Link said slowly as he looked at Xiaodi standing behind Wojin and others. Although the other party's expression was still as innocuous as in the original work, he could see a fiery yearning in his eyes. Unlike the pirate Link who lived a stable life in the Navy before he got the Golden Finger, the full-time hunter Link lived in the barren and chaotic land of Meteor Street. Now his thinking has been inevitably changed by the Hunter world and Meteor Street. If the camp is divided into 9 squares, then the full-time hunter Link should be absolutely neutral. Therefore, when facing Xiaodi, who is relatively normal in the brigade, Link will try to invite him. Hey, you little brat actually want to dig people from our brigade when so many people are present in our brigade, do you want to die?" Wojin walked forward with an unhappy face, and all the energy in his body was gathered in his fist, as if he was about to release a super destructive punch. But Link was still calm, not caring about Wojin's threat at all, but standing proudly in place, as if he wanted to wait for Xiaodi's answer. Faced with Link's invitation, Xiaodi fell silent for a while. On the one hand, she was really interested in Link's invitation, and the scene he described deeply attracted her. On the other hand, she felt that if she quit like this, it would seem too sorry for her companions in the brigade, so she fell into a dilemma. "Xiaodi, you don't really want to go, do you?" Seeing Xiaodi's tangled look, Nobunaga's originally extremely confident heart couldn't help but panic. Although Xiaodi joined the brigade for no more than 2 years, her ability did bring a lot of help to the brigade. Whether their brigade is carrying out theft missions or robbery missions, they need Xiaodi's ability to move the bulging-eyed fish vacuum cleaner. It can be said that once the brigade loses Xiaodi's ability, the difficulty of their mission will become many times greater. "Sorry, Mr. Link, let me refuse." After struggling for a long time, Xiaodi finally sighed deeply and said to Link, "The brigade still needs me now, I can't just leave like this." "I understand." Link sighed. It has to be said that Kuroro is like a religious leader. He almost built the brigade into a religious group loyal to himself, which can make his subordinates trust him unconditionally. Just because he said a few words, he wanted to seduce the brigade members. It was indeed a bit wishful thinking. And the brigade is also a place where the elites of Meteor Street gather. Since his attempt to win over the members of the brigade did not succeed, there was no point for him to stay here. But when he left, he still said to Xiaodi, "The brigade is not the answer to Meteor Street. If you change your mind in the future, you can call me." After that, he threw a note to Xiaodi and left without looking back. Great, this guy finally left. Nobunaga looked at Link's back and said with lingering fear. He was afraid that if Link stayed for a while, he might really fool Xiaodi away. "Wait a minute, Link." But at this moment, Xiaodi called Link. Then she ran over, took out something and handed it to Link, then ran back again. "Xiaodi, you scared me to death. I thought you were going to leave with Link. What did you just give Link?" Nobunaga covered his heart. He was almost scared to death just now. If he had contact with Link, he would have lost a member of the brigade. He didn't know how to explain to Kuroro. "My bank card. Anyway, I usually spend the brigade's money on meals, so it's useless to keep this money," Xiaodi said as a matter of course. Nobunaga didn't know what to say anymore. It can only be said that it's a good thing that Link has left, otherwise Xiaodi might have been really fooled. "No, why is my wallet gone? Could it be stolen?" Wojin suddenly shouted. "Impossible. How could anyone dare to steal our brigade's money in this Meteor Street? And no one has contacted you?" As soon as Nobunaga finished speaking, a possibility suddenly came to the minds of everyone in the brigade. Link, how dare you steal my wallet? Wo Jin roared to the sky. But at this moment, Link had disappeared without a trace. 1 billion Jin, it doesn't seem like that much, it feels like it's not enough, at least I can't buy a Greed Island game cartridge, it seems I have to find a way to get more money by then. Link looked at the balance of his bank card on the phone and sighed. As the saying goes, Meteor Street is a place of outstanding people and beautiful places. There may not be any good people in this place, but there are a lot of criminals with various abilities. After saying goodbye to the members of the brigade, he first went to find the hacker inside Meteor Street, transferred the money in the bank cards of Wo Jin and Xiaodi to his own bank card, and then left Meteor Street. The money in the Hunter world is quite worthless. You can get 200 million bonuses from the 190th floor to the 200th floor of the Sky Arena, and it should not be too much to get 300 million from 0 to the 200th floor. While 1 billion Jin may seem like a lot, it is actually not enough for Link to squander. Luckily, he has found a good place that can sponsor him from his memory. Yuka Shin City. This is a very prosperous and decadent city in the Hunter world. Since its establishment, the world's gang leaders, the 10 old men, have always adhered to the core idea of free Yukexen City, come if you have money, making Yukexen City bigger and stronger and creating greater glory. In this city, even AS is a gangster. Anyone who has money can really do whatever he wants in this city. The reason why Link appeared here is because this is a recognized good place to make money in the Hunter world. Violence can be directly robbed. But Link thinks he is a civilized person, and everything he gets should be justified. So he just wants to go to the casino in Yukexen City to make a small profit. As for taking Wo Jin's wallet, Link thought it was the medical expenses paid by the other party. It's just that he was kind and saw that Wo Jin was still lying on the ground at the time, so he took it himself without troubling the other party. Thinking that the other party was so violent to him, he still thought about the other party. Link couldn't help but sigh. I am really a good person through and through. Yukexen City, the largest casino. This is the business of the 10 old men, and it has always been the first choice for gamblers to gamble. This place used to be noisy everywhere, and gamblers were separated on different projects, but today is different. The overall number of guests in the casino has not decreased, but what is different from the past is that these guests are concentrated at a gambling table. 12 o'clock, all in. As Link casually threw the chips on the 12 o'clock, the gamblers on the side rushed to follow their chips. I also 12 o'clock, all in. You should give up your seat. It's my turn to all in with that guy. Ha ha ha, I'm going to get rich overnight tonight. Unlike the enthusiastic and excited expressions of the gamblers around him, the dealer's expression at this moment is dead silent. The young man in front of him has bet 10 times, and he has not failed once. No matter how many tricks he used, he could not shake the result of the other party's judgment. The most terrifying thing is that even though his gambling skills have reached the top of the world, he still can't tell what the young man in front of him has done. Hey, what are you doing? Hurry up and open the dice cup. You are sleepwalking there. Seeing that the dealer did not move for a long time, the gamblers on the side began to curse wantonly. The dealer gritted his teeth, used tricks again to try to influence the result, and then tremblingly opened the dice cup. 5, 5, 2, 12 o'clock. Great, I made more than 100,000 Jinny again. Me too, that big guy made a lot. His 1 billion Jinny has now tripled. If he didn't bet all the money at once at the beginning, he might have won more than 10 billion now. Big guy, I want to learn gambling skills from you. Looking at the dice cup in front of him and listening to the words of the gambler beside him, the dealer looked at Link with red eyes. There was anger and despair in his eyes, but more of an emotion was confusion. Who are you? Why can't I tell what you did when my gambling skills are at the top of the world? Link calmly answered while putting the winning chips in front of him. Because I didn't use gambling skills, and your gambling skills are far from reaching the top of the world. If you can reach the top of the world, you should be able to see the answer. Link is not a gambling god, but just a cheater passing by. He didn't use any tricks, but just controlled his mind beast Anjuamon to manually change the points in the dice cup. Ordinary people can't see the mind, so naturally they can't see the mind beast composed of the mind. For these dealers who don't have the ability of mind, his method can't be discovered at all. Unless the other party's pursuit of gambling skills can be as enthusiastic as Xiaomai in the original book for military chess, so as to awaken the mind. Otherwise, the other party has no chance of discovering Link's cheating methods. Everyone, the casino is open here today, everyone go back first. As Link was silently putting away the chips and preparing to continue the next hand, a voice suddenly came. Link turned around and found that the source of the sound was a group of strange-looking guys. One had a face as white as a sick dog, one was naked and his skin was red like an earthworm, one looked ordinary and wore sportswear, and another looked like an ordinary fat man. Hey, what does your casino mean? Only customers are allowed to lose money, not to make money, right? I saw a few strange-looking guys suddenly appear and chase people away. Some gamblers who were not very stable walked up and wanted to argue with a few people, but were stopped by their companions who were still a little rational. Have you forgotten whose territory this casino is? This is the territory of the 10 old men, so guess who these guys are? Could they be the legendary Yin Beast troops of the 10 old men? Thinking of this, the gamblers present were immediately frightened and sweating. In the urban legend of Yukashin City, the Yin Beast troops are the most elite combat troops of the 10 old men. Everyone in the army is a legendary Nen user, and they are all monsters that cannot be judged by common sense. Go, go, go. Run. If you don't leave now, you may lose your life. After realizing that the other party might be the legendary Yin Beast army, the gamblers who were so arrogant just now suddenly became timid and ran away quickly. They were afraid that if they left later, they would be affected and die on the spot. After a while, the originally noisy casino was suddenly empty, leaving only Link and the monsters. You are so brave, kid, you dare to come to the casino of the 10 old men to cause trouble. The weirdos laughed and said, you should also be a Nen user, right? Did you use Nen to cheat just now? I just had better luck. Link replied calmly, could it be that your casino is not going to pay for this? Ha ha ha, you guys actually want money. It's a pity for a Nen user, who originally had a bright future, but met our Yin Beast army, then you must die here. The leading earthworm snorted coldly. The other 3 people stood around Link tacitly to prevent Link from escaping in any direction. The normal gang guards also came out from all sides of the casino, raising their guns at Link. Now let's see how you run. The earthworm smiled coldly, trying to find fear on Link's face, but what he saw was a scornful smile. What are you laughing at, kid? The earthworm roared angrily. It's okay, I just thought of something funny. Link waved his hand, and couldn't help laughing. He had recognized the 4 Yin beasts surrounding him, namely the earthworm, the sick dog, the porcupine, and the leech. The 4 Yin beasts' mental abilities are drilling, poisonous steel teeth, hair control, and spitting leeches, in order. And the reason he laughed was because compared with the 3 body, mental abilities that appeared in the later part of the original work, which required a whole page of paper to explain their abilities, the mental abilities of these Yin beasts were like primitive people, with a kind of innocent beauty. It seems that it is necessary to let you see how powerful the Yin beasts are. Seeing that Link was still laughing at them, a fierce light flashed in the earthworm's eyes. Just as he was about to burrow into the ground to attack Link, Link waved his hands and said, Anjuamon, use the holy arrow. What Anjuamon? Where is it? A trace of confusion flashed in the earthworm's eyes. Then a hazy and pure angel figure slowly emerged from behind Link, and in his hand, a pure white arrow flashing with lightning was condensed. Bang! The pure white arrow condensed to the limit and shot out instantly. Before the earthworm could react, the pure white arrow instantly pierced his chest. The earthworm was about to say something, but blood flowed out of his 5 orifices, and he fell to the ground. It's a mind beast attack. The earthworm is dead, you guys cover me. Sensing that the earthworm had no breath, the sick dog roared at his teammates beside him. The porcupine beside him understood and immediately controlled his hair to harden in order to restrict Link, so that the sick dog's fang attack could hit better. But before his hair touched Link, he saw the smile on the other's mouth. Link's arms were bulging with veins. His muscles were like steel bars, and he raised his fist to hit the porcupine that was rushing towards him. Boom! The sound roared like thunder. In an instant, the porcupine's body was smashed into the ground, leaving a pit several meters deep and rolling up clouds of dust. Ah, what kind of monster is this? Seeing the porcupine that had been beaten beyond human form, the sick dog's eyes were full of shock. He knew that the porcupine's mind ability was defensive, and ordinary strengthening systems could not hurt him. However, now he was beaten beyond human form by the other party with just one blow. The young man in front of him was definitely not easy to mess with. When the other party moved his eyes to him, the sick dog felt like he was being stared at by a superior species, and his whole body was trembling. So now there is only one choice. The sick dog immediately raised his hands high, knelt down with a thump, and shouted. Wait a minute, we surrender. The sick dog looked at Link in horror. The moment he saw Link's terrifying fighting power, he had no intention of resisting. The monster in front of him was not something he could resist. Link looked at the leeches and gangster gunmen beside him, who were also trembling. The other party was like a big devil entering the novice village, instantly slaughtering the two strongest men on his side, and was beaten into such a miserable state. Who dares to do it? Their salary is only a few dollars, so do they want to die knowing that they can't win? Then can you give me the money I should get? Link looked at the sick dog and asked. Facing Link's question, the sick dog was a little speechless for a while. He wanted to give the money to the other party directly, but the number of rings won by the other party had reached 3 billion. This was already a considerable amount, and it was beyond the scope of his responsibility, so he couldn't open his mouth to agree. This may need to ask the boss. So, you still can't give it to me? Link's frivolous tone sounded like the devil's whisper in the sick dog's ears. He had no doubt that if he refused, the other party would kill him without hesitation. However, where would he get these 3 billion? Give it. And not only give it, I want an extra 10 billion. Just when the sick dog was full of fear, a full-bodied voice suddenly came from behind him. Angel, which boss has so much money that he wants an extra 10 billion? Hearing this, the sick dog thought that the 10 old men had come, and smiled immediately, then turned his head to look. When he saw the appearance of the visitor clearly, the sick dog's expression became strange. Right Nasra, the boss of the Nasra family, is not one of the 10 old men, but he is a newly rising gangster in Ukexan City. Why did this guy come to the casino? This money is not his to pay, right? I also have a part of the shares in this casino, so it's normal for me to pay this fee. Light Nasra smiled slowly at the sick dog. He then glanced at the porcupine and earthworms that had lost their vital signs, and finally set his eyes on Link in front of him. What's your name, sir? Link replied calmly. My name is Link, do you want to give me another 1 billion ringies? Yes, this is our small apology for disturbing you. Light Nasra said respectfully. Really? Hearing Light Nasra's words, Link smiled slightly and then said, I thought you wanted to bribe me and let me join your Nasra family. He knew the Light Nasra in front of him. The other party was the father of Nyan Nasra, whose prophetic poetry ability was taken away by Kororo in the back. From the performance in the original book, the other party should be a black godfather who values power and has great ambitions. He is not a succubus like Kororo, who can easily make such a person feel good about him and willingly give him 1 billion rings without any return. Ha ha ha, don't worry. The current Nasra family does not have the ability to bribe outstanding Nen users like you. We actually just want to make friends with you, Mr. Link. The smile on Light Nasra's face did not diminish. Even if what Link said was indeed what he thought in his heart, he did not reveal it on the surface. Okay, I accept your kindness. Link thought for a moment and responded slowly. According to the plot of the original work, the Nasra family is a gangster family with great potential. In the original Ukexan chapter, the 10 old men and Kororo invited different members of the Zoldyck family to assassinate each other. In the end, the 10 old men were successfully assassinated, and the original cake of Ukexan City was temporarily vacant. Although the original book does not mention the follow-up of Ukexan City, the Nasra family, as a powerful gangster family besides the 10 old men, should be able to get a share of it. You should know that the business conducted in Ukexan City is a highly profitable industry. As long as you can get a share of it, it will be at least tens of billions, or even hundreds of billions of profits. It's just that the other party didn't seem to be able to keep this profit later. After all, the source of the Nasra family's status as the psychic ability of Light Nasra's daughter Nyan, the Angel's automatic notebook. And Nyan's psychic ability was later taken away by Kororo, resulting in that even if he took over part of the business in Ukexan City, he couldn't maintain it for a long time. So, in the Dark Continent chapter of the original book, Kororo said that the prophecy ability could not be used. According to Kororo's psychic ability, the stolen ability cannot be used, which means that the owner of the psychic ability, Nyan, should have died. But these are not a big problem for Link. At worst, he will personally deal with Kororo at that time. As long as Nyan's ability to read is preserved, the Nasra family will continue to prosper and may even become the new 10 elders. Therefore, Link will accept the other party's advances. Moreover, he is somewhat interested in Nyan Nasra's ability to read. The other party's ability to read, Angel's automatic notes, can predict what will happen in the next month. The predictions written by the automatic notebook vary from person to person, usually consisting of 4 to 5 paragraphs of poetry. One line of poetry represents 1 week. When an ominous prediction is made, there will be a warning prompt. As long as you listen to the warning, you can avoid it. The effect of this mind ability can be called abnormal. It is a magical skill to avoid danger and seek good fortune. No wonder it was targeted by Kororo and had its mind ability stolen by him. Mr. Light Nasra, since we are all friends, can Miss Nyan Nasra write a prophecy poem for me? Link asked. He also wanted to see what his future would be like. Of course, no problem, Mr. Link. Hearing Link call him a friend, Light Nasra immediately smiled. He finally got in touch with this mind ability user who was even more powerful than the legendary Yin Beast army. The conversation between the two sides was very harmonious, and there was a guest in the Shin Hotel that night. This is yours. Light Nasra handed Link a black card with a gold border. Inside was Link's winnings from the casino plus 1 billion sponsored by Light Nasra himself. By the way, if you are in contact with me like this, aren't you worried that the 10 old men who killed the Yin beasts by me will retaliate against you? Link asked as he took the other party's card. Hee, you overestimate the status of the Yin beasts in the hearts of the 10 old men. Not all Yin beast members are so important. In the hearts of the 10 old men, only the Yin beast leader Shao is more valuable. And the value of the porcupine and earthworms you killed is at least not worth the 10 old men turning against me. As for Nyan, I also brought her here. As soon as Light Nasra finished speaking, a cute girl walked in from outside the room, looked at Link with a blush, and greeted him. Then I'll trouble Miss Nyan. After Link told the other party his name, date of birth, and blood type, Nyan activated his telepathy and was about to help Link predict. However, before she could put pen to paper, the Angel's automatic notebook, that was materialized by her ability to read suddenly exploded. Her prophetic poem failed for the first time. Nyan. Seeing his daughter suddenly vomiting blood and losing breath, Light Nasra was immediately startled. Just when he was subconsciously preparing to call an ambulance, Link slowly came to Niang's side. Celestial Beast, use Holy Bubble. As Link stretched out his hand, a bubble that ordinary people couldn't see gradually blended into Nyan's body, and her originally weak aura gradually became smooth and powerful. Nyan should be fine now. After Link briefly checked Niang, he said to the anxious Light Nasra. I'm sorry to have troubled you, Mr. Link. Light Nasra bowed to Link and thanked him. I didn't expect you to have medical skills. This is not medical skill. Link waved his hand. His celestial beast has 3 telekinesis abilities, namely Sacred Arrows, Sacred Bubbles, and Heavenly Purple Light. Among them, Holy Arrow and Heavenly Purple Light are both damaging abilities, while Holy Bubble can not only heal others, but also gather power, which is a very versatile ability. When he was a doctor in Meteor Street, he used Sacred Bubbles to heal patients. Miss Nyan became like this because she helped me write the prophetic poem. This is my fault. Mr. Wright is sorry. Please wait for Miss Niang to wake up and express your apology for me. Are you leaving? Wright asked with a look of regret. After seeing that Link actually had the ability to heal, Wright had to admit that he was drooling over Link. So when he heard that Link was about to leave, he subconsciously felt sorry. But he also knew that the current power of the Nasla family was not enough to make a telepathic person loyal. Link was destined to be the one the Nasla family couldn't get, and they couldn't keep each other at all. Yes, I still have some goals I want to achieve. My current strength is far from enough. I still need more learning. Mr. Wright, I still need some little help from you. Mr. Link, just say it. Right Nosla patted his chest and said, as long as it is something that the Nosla family can do, I will never refuse. Goddess, bah, the male god speaks. Is it possible that he, a good friend, still has reasons not to help? Then please help me find some rare gems, Mr. Wright, and the money needed will be deducted from my card. Link said a little embarrassed. It's okay, I'll take care of it. A few days later, after continuous treatment with the sacred bubbles, Nyan recovered from the backlash of her telekinesis. When she woke up, her attitude towards Link changed from being quite fond of him at the beginning to being frightened. He even told Light Nosla that Link was not a human, but an alien demon. Of course, Wright didn't believe any of Niang's words. Will demons master the healing power of Nyan? And even if what Nyan said is true, Link's own value is enough for Wright to ignore these risks. Okay Niang, stop making trouble. Even if he caused you a lot of harm, now that Mr. Link has left, you don't need to target him anymore. Right Nosla sighed and said with some regret. Originally, he hoped to use Nyan to bind Link to the Nosla family, but unfortunately the other party was not very interested in cute girls, but was very concerned about how to gain power. Perhaps this is why Link looks so young but is so powerful. However, efforts are not without reward. Light Nosla muttered to himself as he looked at Link's phone number on his phone. Although he is not a telepathic person like his daughter. But for some reason, he had a hunch that Link's call might be able to save the Nosla family in the future. In the hunter world, a strong man's combat prowess is closely related to his telekinesis ability. The amount of thought ability can be improved through self-cultivation. In order to strengthen their mindfulness abilities, those with mindfulness abilities will use various cultivation methods to train themselves as much as possible. Among the various schools of Nen ability, the Shingen Ryu founded by President Nitro of the Hunter Association is the most standard formal practice method recognized by those with Nen ability in the world. This is also the way of practice that Link, who was born in Meteor Street, needs most at the moment. Hello, Hunter Association here, what help do you need? As soon as Link entered the Hunter Association, the receptionist asked very politely. I hope that a strong person from the heart can guide me in my training and recommend me to participate in the next Hunter exam. The reward for the task is this bag of gems. Link said as he handed a small bag to the other party. The lady at the front desk opened the bag, and the sparkling, excellent quality gems lay quietly in the bag. Some of these gems are extremely rare and have always been priceless. Are you sure you want to issue this task? The front desk lady confirmed again. Certainly, Link nodded. These gems are all top quality gems collected with the help of Right Nosla. The reason why he chose to use gems as the reward for the mission was because he wanted to catch someone. Based on the performance in the other party's original work, she should be very interested in these gems. Mr. Link, your commission has been accepted and the task-related requirements have been published on the Hunter website. Please keep an eye on your mailbox at any time. Once a hunter accepts the task, we will notify you via email as soon as possible. Oh, someone has already accepted the task. The other party will arrive the day after tomorrow. Please reserve as much free time as possible to study. The receptionist explained all the precautions to Link. At the same time, she also kindly reminded Link that the hunter exam is quite dangerous, and a large number of candidates are eliminated every year. Sometimes there is even a zero pass rate. Time flies. On the third day, a heart source flow dojo of the Hunter Association. Are you the local tycoon? You look pretty good. Why do you have traces of thoughts on you? When Link walked into the dojo, he felt a thought sweeping over him instantly. He looked up and saw a blonde loli standing in the middle of the dojo with her hands around her chest and asked in surprise. Because I have awakened my ability of mind before, but because I am a wild person, my ability has not improved much, so I want to learn it more systematically. As Link explained, he looked at the blonde loli in front of him curiously. Biscuit Kuluga, a 2-star gem hunter, taught Gon and Kahlua in the Greed Island chapter in the original book. She looks like a cute loli, but she is actually a muscular woman. Biscuit noticed the curiosity in Link's eyes and said with disdain. I always feel that you seem to be thinking about something rude. Could it be that you have developed some interest in a blonde loli like me? Forget it, even if you were a pervert, I don't think you dare to offend me. Before Link opened his mouth to defend himself, Biscuit waved his hand to indicate that he wanted to skip this topic. To be honest, I have never seen someone like you who has awakened your own Nen ability and is only now learning the heart source flow. You should have tested your Nen ability using the water viewing method yourself, right? Yes, it is the special system. Link answered truthfully. Special system. No wonder you want to join the heart source flow. Biscuit suddenly realized. The special system's Nen ability is the most peculiar among the 6 major systems. Even if they belong to the same special type, the Nen ability of Nen users is different, unlike the Nen abilities of other systems that have some commonality. For example, the strengthening system Nen ability users are mostly fighting, and the release system is to send waves. It is precisely because they do not have commonality that the improvement of the special system is the most difficult among the 6 major systems, and it is generally difficult to improve it by trying to practice by yourself. No wonder Link wanted to practice completely even though he had mastered the ability of Nen. Since you are already a person who has mastered the ability of Nen, you can skip the part about awakening Nen. I will teach you directly from the 4 major actions of Nen: entanglement, absolute, practice, and release. The first is entanglement. Try to wrap the chi around your body, just like this. As Biscuit said this, she condensed a ball of chi that only Nen users can sense in her hand. Then she manipulated the chi to flow along her arms and gradually flow to the whole body, first to the torso, then to the legs, head. The most basic use of entanglement is to prevent the loss of one's own life energy, that is, the loss of chi, so as to make the body stronger and the mind more focused. When facing the attack of the Nen user carrying the Nen, you can also use entanglement to defend. Try it yourself. Link nodded and responded, okay. Then he started to try it himself. For someone like Link who has developed his own Nen ability, learning entanglement is like learning addition, subtraction, multiplication and division after learning advanced mathematics. In less than half a minute, he had mastered the use of entanglement and wrapped his whole body with chi. A minute later, he completely mastered the entanglement and could even control the location of the chi to wrap. You learn very quickly. Biscuit praised Link and then told Link the practice methods of Ju, Lien and Fa in turn. Among them, Fa is the move of Nen ability. For example, Link can summon the Nen beast of Anjuamon. As for the remaining, Ju and Lien. Ju is that the Nen ability user actively closes the whole body's pores and completely seals the chi in the body. There are 2 effects. One is to quickly restore physical strength, and the other is to make one's sense of existence weak. But at the same time, this will also put oneself in a completely defenseless state, which is very dangerous. Lien is a technique that can concentrate one's mind, sublimate one's will, and thus release one's own chi at maximum power. It's like the state in Dragon Ball where you shout and burst into energy during a battle. These 4 elements are the foundation of the ability to read. The subsequent advanced and combined applications of the ability to read are all based on these 4 elements. For example, Jo is the application skill of channel, which can use the skill of entanglement to wrap your own energy around the object in contact with the body, so that the properties of the object are strengthened. Another example, channel and Lien can be combined to expand the skills such as circle. The so-called circle is to let the energy expand outward with itself as the center of the circle, and can detect intruders within the range of energy. Biscuit arranged for Link to master the use of the 4 elements first, and then start to learn the advanced and combined application of the ability to read after mastering it completely. In this way, under Biscuit's teaching, Link began to practice. Sometimes he wrapped his energy around the surface of his body, and sometimes he blocked the whole body's pores to enter the state of absoluteness, and continuously improved his proficiency. Such repeated pulling will consume a lot of energy. Originally, Biscuit thought that Link would soon be unable to maintain it. However, the following situation surprised her. Link was like a tireless beast. He practiced for 3 days and had no intention of stopping. How much is this guy's total mind? I'm afraid that even conventional tests can't fully test his total mind. If you really want to test it, you may need to use Mo Laowu's I am the only one who can lose in the world, called Nakulu to test it quickly. Bisji looked at Link with shock. According to her estimate, Link's total mind may exceed 100,000, or even higher. If you follow the standard mind energy stipulated by hunters and try your best to maintain firmness, 1 gas will be consumed every 1 second. Then Link's exaggerated mind energy is enough to support him to continue fighting for a whole day. You should know that the total mind energy of an ordinary hunter is about 2,000 gas. Link's total mind energy is outstanding even among elite hunters. And with this extremely abundant mind energy, Link's progress is quite fast. In just 3 days, the 4 major elements of mind have been completely mastered by Link. Another week passed. Link also mastered the 3 advanced applications of Zhou, Yin, and Neng, and BCG asked Link to start practicing the subsequent combined applications. In this way, time passed by in a hurry, and half a month passed in the blink of an eye. I have nothing left to teach you. I also got your recommendations for the next hunter exam. Bisji looked at Link as if he were looking at a monster. In this half-month, Link has completed the practice of telekinesis. At the same time, she also tested it and found that its total Nian capacity was around 150,000. This number was almost twice the Nian capacity of the elite hunters in the Hunter Association, and naturally exceeded her. Bisji even felt that he might not be Link's opponent anymore. Thank you, Master BCG, for your teaching, Link said with great gratitude. This half-month was harder than CG's, and he saw it in his eyes. Even though his strength may have been stronger than that of the opponent, he was still willing to call him Master BCG. You don't need to thank me, I also charge money to do things. The reason why you are able to grow at such an amazing speed is mainly because of your own outstanding talent. Bisji looked at Link with a complicated expression. With your current strength, there is already a 100% chance of passing the hunter exam. No, it should be said that unless President Nitro takes action personally, the examiners of the hunter exam may not be your opponents. Quote, Saba City. The entrance to the hunter exam site is actually a shabby barbecue restaurant. Those who don't know would think that the Hunter Association is a pyramid scheme. Standing in front of a magnificent building, Link threw the remaining skewers of Saba City's famous grilled panda frog into the trash can beside him, and then walked into the shabby barbecue restaurant next to him. Welcome. Link walked into the store. There was no customer inside, only a chef. Although the other party looked like an ordinary chef, he was actually a staff member arranged by the Hunter Association. Whenever someone successfully matched the secret code, he would arrange for the visitor to take the elevator to the underground tunnel of the real test site. Dear guest, what would you like to eat? Ribeye steak set meal. Forget it, this should be enough to prove your identity. Link scratched his head. The next moment, a white mist appeared on his hand. The chef who saw this scene had a flash of surprise in his eyes. It's okay, please come in. Thank you, Mr. Chef. After getting permission, Link walked into the private room elevator. Looking at Link who had just entered the room, the chef's mouth slightly raised, muttering to himself, it seems that this hunter exam is finally a little interesting. Ding dong. As the elevator bell rang, countless candidates turned their heads and looked over. The candidates participating in the hunter exam are varied, and there are many tough characters in each session, so they need to judge whether the other party is easy to mess with, so as to confirm their subsequent course of action. The elevator door opened and Link walked out slowly. Looks like an ordinary person. He looks pretty handsome, but it's useless to be handsome in this hunter exam. When they saw Link for the first time, most of the candidates were secretly happy. In their opinion, Link was just an ordinary person with a little handsome appearance. Only a few people noticed that there was no flow of life energy from Link's body. The other party was undoubtedly a Nen ability user. Among them were the diligent fruit farmers and the paralyzed nail-headed man. Sir, this is your number plate. A staff member with a pea-like head came over and handed the number plate to Link. The other party was the direct secretary of Netero, the president of the Hunter Association. Link glanced at his number 406, which was just one number later than the 3 protagonists in the original work. Thank you, Mr. Bean. After putting the number plate on his chest, Link began to look around. Then his eyes fell on 3 people. One was wearing a suit and carrying a briefcase, looking like a salesperson. One was younger, with an innocent face, and looked like a good child. One had bright blonde hair and a soft face, wearing special ethnic costumes. The three were the three protagonists of the original work, Lirio, Xiaoji, and Kurapika. And at this moment, they were communicating with a short and fat uncle. Mr. Dongba, this should be expired, right? Xiaoji smelled the drink in his hand, and a strange smell that ordinary people could hardly smell entered his nose. Lirio looked at the drink in his hand and asked, "Ah, really? Is my bottle okay?" As for Kurapika, he didn't even want to drink it. Ha ha ha, that's possible, right? Dongba scratched his head embarrassedly, thinking that he had made a mistake this time. Then he looked at Link, who had just entered, and was about to talk to Link. But the next moment, a bad premonition came to his mind and stopped him. Being able to survive 35 hunter exams, Dongba is not a rookie who knows nothing, especially his ability to perceive danger is not inferior to professional hunters. This feeling, it seems that the newcomer is not ordinary. Dongba wiped the sweat from his head and silently retracted the step he wanted to take. He would not take the initiative to provoke someone he couldn't afford to provoke. Ding ding ding. Suddenly, a sharp bell sounded from behind the huge stone door. This bell sound seemed to be a preview of some kind of mechanism. As the bell sounded, the huge stone door slowly lifted up. A man with short purple hair, 2 curly mustaches and no mouth appeared in front of everyone. This man was the examiner of the first test, SATs. The bell just now means the time is up, and the hunter test is now officially starting. One point that needs to be emphasized is that the hunter test is extremely dangerous. Those who are unlucky and lack strength may die in the process. If you are scared, you can take the elevator back the same way. If everyone has no problem, please follow me. Examiner SATs said slowly. Although he has no mouth, his voice can be clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. The content of the first test is that everyone please follow me to the second test location. Before everyone could react, SATs took a step and ran. Seeing that the examiner had started running, the candidates also took action. At the beginning, Sats's speed was normal, but he got faster and faster as time went on, until most of the candidates had to go all out to barely catch up with him, and then he stopped speeding up. But this speed has exceeded the level of professional athletes among ordinary people. And this is just the beginning. As time went by, more and more people began to lose their strength and dropped out of this long-distance race that tested their endurance and will. Most of the remaining candidates were also in poor condition and were about to reach their physical limits. There were only chaotic footsteps in the entire dim venue, and most people did not want to waste their precious physical strength on talking. Only a few people could keep their breath steady, including Link. The first test of the hunter exam was almost no difficulty for Link. So he took the initiative to add some difficulty to himself while running, while performing, GN, to increase his own mental consumption, so as to play a role in training himself. And Link's actions also attracted some powerful people who had awakened their thoughts. In the corner, Hisoka ran slowly while looking at Link, and his eyes revealed a hint of unknown meaning. Time continued to pass, and more than 6 hours passed. More and more candidates began to lose their perseverance, and the number of eliminated people increased rapidly. Finally, in the 7th hour, the passage came to the end. Just when everyone thought it was over, what followed was an infinite staircase that made people even more desperate. Compared with running on flat ground, climbing the stairs consumes significantly more physical strength. With the appearance of the staircase section, the number of eliminated people soared again, and more importantly, the confidence of everyone present was greatly hit. This is undoubtedly a test that ordinary people cannot pass at all. Finally, after a large number of unqualified candidates were eliminated, the remaining candidates finally saw the end of the light. It's the exit. Seeing the light, the candidates squeezed out their last bit of physical strength and ran at full speed. When they crossed the last step, they all fell to the ground. However, they didn't know that this was actually only half of the first exam. After a long tunnel run, what appeared in front of everyone was a wetland shrouded in thick fog. And behind these thick fogs are hidden crises. This place is called Shimile Wetland, and it also has a nickname called the Deceiver's Nest. Every creature here is a cunning creature that is very good at deceiving. They often prey on humans through deception, so please be careful. This is also the only way to the next venue. Please follow me closely so as not to get lost. Quote. Sats calmly explained the precautions about the Shimile wetland, and the expressions of the candidates around him became more and more solemn. Only Lirio wanted to complain. Are you kidding me? It's clear that those creatures are trying to trick you, so how could anyone still be fooled? Apparently he had no idea that what he said would hit him like a boomerang later. Even though he knew that the female prisoner was cheating on him, he still stepped into the trap and was played by him. Just when everyone was about to leave, a slightly weak voice suddenly sounded. Don't believe him. He's a liar. A man with brown hair who looked like a fool was holding a monkey that looked like Sats, pointed at Sats and shouted. He is a fake. I am the real examiner. Look at the creature in my hand. It is a human-faced ape unique to the Shimile wetland. Does it look exactly like this guy? After seeing clearly the appearance of the monkey in the man's hand, the candidates present looked at Sats again. Ahem, it seems to be about the same. Is it possible that we were tricked? Haha, actually I noticed something was wrong a long time ago. How can humans run so fast? A certain bald ninja and the sales uncle thought at the same time. Link watched the two human-faced apes acting. It has to be said that the disguise of this human-faced ape is quite decent, and most people really can't find any flaws. It's just that they obviously don't have the same sense of danger as Dongba. Seeing that many people had been bewitched, the human-faced apes immediately said, "Don't get close to him, everyone, follow me now." As it spoke, it moved closer to everyone, as if it wanted to pull someone to leave with him. At this moment, the person closest to the human-faced ape is Link. Does the man-faced ape you mentioned look like this? Link looked at the human-faced ape and smiled. Transformation. The next moment, only a flash of white mist was seen. Link's appearance changed into the appearance of Dragon Ancestor Super Saiyan IV, which is somewhat similar to the human-faced ape. What? You are also a human-faced ape? Seeing Link's appearance, the brown-haired man was a little confused. Could it be that a flood has hit the Dragon King Temple now? What do you mean you are also a human-faced ape? Could it be that you are a human-faced ape? Link looked at the other person with a half-smile. Not good. The moment Link finished speaking, the man-faced ape instantly realized that he had exposed a flaw, turned around and wanted to run away. Immediately afterwards, 3 playing cards were shot at Link, Sats and the man-faced ape respectively. Link and Sats just casually caught the cards with their hands and easily took them down. The one shot at the human-faced ape was embedded directly into its head. Oh, man-faced apes are a race of Warcraft with little fighting power. Since these two young men can catch Mapoker, it means that they are human. Hisoka squinted his eyes and looked at Link as if he were a fruit farmer looking at the harvested fruits. I am originally a human being. As for this transformation method, it is just a low-level ninjutsu that is not worth mentioning. Link released the transformation spell and said slowly. As soon as these words came out, the bald ninja Hanzo on the side was suddenly filled with questions. Ninja's ninjutsu also has this kind of skill. How come I don't know? Could it be that what I cultivated is a fake ninja? Then the exam will continue. Sats took a deep look at Hisoka and Link. Then he started a new round of long-distance running test without saying anything else. It's just that the test in the second half of the stage is no longer a simple competition of endurance and physical strength, but a test of strength and luck. The human-faced ape just now is just the weakest monster in the Shimile wetland. In addition, there are also foggy strawberry turtles as big as hills, mushrooms that emit sleeping spores when stepped on, giant man-eating frogs whose bodies are hidden under the lawn, and so on. Unknowingly, many candidates died at the mouth of these monsters. Of course, the reason for the death of the candidates was not just these monsters, but also a certain fruit farmer who was working hard to harvest vegetables. I saw Hisoka's figure slowly disappearing in the thick fog, and the screams of candidates continued to be heard from all around. Link had no intention of interfering with these people. He just changed his training program from maintaining hard to releasing a circle with a diameter of 20 meters and maintaining it all the time. It was precisely by relying on the circle to detect the area covered by chi that Link took the safest path and was able to avoid all the monsters. Biscayne Forest Park. This is the end point of the first exam and the starting point of the second exam. When Link arrived here, he found that the number of candidates who could keep up at this moment dropped sharply, and many of them had died in the Shimile wetland just now. The original candidate team of more than 400 people now only has more than 100 people left. Thank you for your hard work. Next is the second exam. Please continue to work hard. After saying that, Sats's figure disappeared from the spot. No, where is the examiner? What should we do next? The candidates looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Fortunately, not long after Sats left, the big iron gate in front of them slowly opened to both sides. A woman with a hot body and hot clothes appeared in front of everyone, and next to her stood a man who was at least 3 meters tall. His face looked inexplicably funny from a distance. The two were the examiners of the second exam, Menchi and Buhul. Hello everyone, we are the examiners of the second exam, Menchi and Buhul. Before the crowd could react, a loud roar came from Buhul's stomach. Buhul, are you hungry? Menchi looked at his partner helplessly. Yes, I'm so thin from hunger. Buhul touched his round belly and said with some complaints. So the topic of the second exam is cooking. As long as we make a dish that satisfies us, we will pass. The exam will end after we are full. Menchi announced loudly. As soon as these words came out, the candidates present were shocked. Aren't they taking the hunter exam? Why do they have to take the cooking exam? This feels as strange as if the university exam does not test Chinese, math, and English, but instead tests excavators. We are here to take the hunter exam, why do we have to cook? A fat man said with a look of disdain. Because we are gourmet hunters, the exam is naturally related to gourmet food. Bu Hajja on the side said with drool. The next goal is to roast a whole pig, come on everyone. As the two of them finished speaking, the candidates rushed to the gate, wanting to be the first to catch the wild boar. After all, the examiner said that the exam would end once the boar was full, which means that those who fell behind might be eliminated without even the chance to be tasted. And among them, there was a figure that seemed a little out of place. When everyone ran towards the forest, only Link stayed there. Having read the original book, he naturally knew that the result of this game was that everyone was sent. Instead of wasting effort, it is better to start directly. Examinee, why don't you hurry up and catch the food? Looking at Link, Meng-Chi asked curiously. Report to the examiner, I think this exam question is unreasonable, so I have no desire to act. Link said lazily. What's unreasonable? Meng-Chi looked at Link, with a warning in her tone. Are you questioning the professionalism of us food hunters? As a food hunter, Meng-Chi also has her own pride. She couldn't be in a good mood when she was questioned in the field she loved. That's about right. What Meng-Chi didn't expect was that Link actually nodded and agreed. And these words undoubtedly made the examiner who had a sincere heart for food furious. Then tell me, what's unreasonable about my exam question? Meng-Chi snorted coldly and glared at Link fiercely with a murderous look. If Link can't give her a reasonable explanation, then she will let him know that they, the food hunters, are not vegetarians. If I remember correctly, there is only one kind of pig in Biscayne Forest Park, and its full name is Hornosoma mad pig. This kind of pig is very difficult to handle, and even professional chefs find it difficult to handle it perfectly. Since you use this question to verify the candidates, are you deliberately making things difficult for the candidates, so that no one in this class will pass, so as to ensure the scarcity of your hunter status? Link didn't care about anything and just put a hat on him. But although he put a hat on him, what he said is not without reason. In the original book, the reason why Meng-Chi directly failed all the candidates' roasted whole pigs was not only because she had high requirements for herself, but also because it was difficult to handle the Hornosoma mad pig itself. After all, when it was the turn of the boiled egg topic later, there were still many people who could produce works above the standard. Meng-Chi's behavior could indeed be deliberately making things difficult for the candidates. You have to know that although the hunter exam is strict, you can't let those hunter seeds with obvious potential be eliminated. In the original book, Meng-Chi's behavior of directly failing all the candidates was obviously a deviation from the original intention of the hunter exam, so Netero personally changed the exam topic. Hearing Link's slander, Meng-Chi was so angry that she couldn't help shaking all over, and her eyes looked at Link as if she wanted to eat him. But Buhali on the side stopped him in time. Meng-Chi, what this kid said makes sense. Unless you lower your requirements later, the candidates really can't pass the exam. Buhali said slowly. It's impossible to lower the requirements for food. I'm a food hunter, how can I lower the requirements for food? Do you want me to admit that unpalatable things are also food? The pride of being a food hunter made Menchie decisively reject this request. Then change the topic, I'll contact the president. Menchie picked up the phone and looked at Link with gritted teeth. After some thinking, she also realized that her topic was not well thought out. If you don't want to lower the standards for food, you can only change the topic. Not long after Menchie dialed the phone, a figure suddenly fell from the sky. With a slight vibration on the ground, an old man with a white beard wearing a white martial arts uniform appeared in front of everyone. The person who came was one of the strongest fighters in the hunter world, the president of the Hunter Association, Netero. Ha ha ha, little Menchie. I thought I needed SATs to notify me to take the initiative to solve this problem, but I didn't expect it to be you who came to me. It seems that you have grown a lot, Netero said with a smile. In fact, as early as when he asked Menchie to be the examiner of this hunter exam, he had already anticipated that something might happen. Therefore, he also asked SATs, the examiner of the first exam, to hide in a tree in the distance to observe the situation. Once there is any problem, SATs will call to notify President Netero to come out and solve the problem. SATs notified you. Menchie was stunned at first, then suddenly realized, so, you actually sent SATs to monitor our exam content. Netero nodded, and then said, I plan to change this test to boiled eggs, what do you think? Boiled eggs, the eggs of spider vultures that nest on cliffs thousands of meters high. No problem for me. Menchie nodded obediently. Spider vulture eggs are obviously much easier to handle than hogs. Even if they are simply cooked, they are delicious enough, so she doesn't need to go against her conscience and say that unpalatable food is delicious. Dong dong dong. Just after Menchie and Netero finished discussing the next task, the candidates who went hunting just now also returned one by one carrying hogs. As a result, as soon as they returned, they learned about the change in the content of the test. What? Why did they suddenly change the assessment content? That's right, we finally hunted the porcupine, isn't it a bit too much to suddenly change the assessment content? The candidates were indignant when they learned of this result. The porcupine is not an easy prey to hunt. Many candidates were injured more or less in order to hunt the porcupine. Now they are told that the assessment content has changed, and the original porcupine is no longer needed. They naturally feel like they have been fooled. You guys, aren't you happy to give you some easy-to-pass tests? Menchie looked at all the candidates with dark expressions on their faces. Just as he was about to speak, Netero stopped him. The sudden change in the assessment content is indeed an oversight by our Hunter Association. How about you start cooking the porcupine now, then taste and eat it yourself? If you feel that your cooking is delicious, how about you pass this second test? Quote. As soon as Netero finished speaking, all the candidates present showed expressions of joy. Actually giving them the power to pass the examination, isn't this equivalent to the examinee becoming the examiner and passing the examination at will? As a result, the candidates agreed one after another, fearing that Netero would regret it, and then quickly cook the roasted whole pig in their hands. Soon, the first fat candidate finished cooking the wild pig. There was excitement in his eyes, and he grabbed the wild pig he had cooked and ate it without hesitation. Vomit. As the pork belly went down, the fat candidate suddenly felt a strong fishy smell pouring into his nasal cavity. No, this thing doesn't taste much better than shit. I am willing to agree to change the assessment content. The fat candidate said through gritted teeth. He couldn't bear to eat this whole wild-nosed pork. The vast majority of the remaining candidates are basically like fat candidates. After trying it for a while, they are unwilling to continue trying. Candidates with only partial cooking skills or candidates with a determined personality will eat a whole wild boar. Netero also gave these candidates passing qualifications as agreed. Then he led everyone to the location of the spider vulture egg. Generally consistent with the content of the previous assessment, he asked the candidates to handle the spider vulture eggs by themselves, and finally let them taste and judge by themselves. Unlike the nosed boar, the spider vulture eggs are much easier to process, and the taste is even better. When the candidates ate the spider vulture eggs, everyone showed the same satisfied expression. At that moment, the candidates seemed to be able to understand what the food hunters were pursuing, and they could also say the sentence without any burden, "It's delicious." While everyone was enjoying the delicious food, Menchie quietly walked up to Link and said to him, "Thank you." By the time everyone finished eating the hard-boiled eggs they made by themselves, the sky was already turning yellow. The second exam finally ended, with a total of more than 40 people passing the test. The candidates all came to the airship to take a hard-earned rest. They will face the third exam tomorrow morning. A spacious training room on the airship. I didn't expect that what that little girl BCG said was actually true. She really trained quite outstanding disciples. Nitro sat on the sofa and looked at Link with a kind smile. BCG is a master of Shingen Ryu, while Nitro is the founder of Shingen Ryu. It is not surprising to Link that there is a connection between the two. President Nitro has been overrated. My current strength is barely sufficient, and my mental capacity has also increased very slowly. It seems that I have reached a bottleneck. Link said with a wry smile. Although with the help of BCG, he has basically reached the level of proficiency in the use of various Nyan abilities. But his telekinesis ability is not that great. His telekinesis beast Tianuman has 3 telekinesis abilities. Among them, the 2 attack moves of Heavenly Purple Light and Holy Arrow are more to make up for Link's lack of long-range attack methods. Only the Sacred Bubbles did play a considerable role. This ability can not only help Link quickly recover from injuries and physical strength by consuming a point of Nyan during battle. It can also eliminate body soreness and other symptoms after training. In a sense, his telekinesis ability is somewhat similar to that of his master BCG's magical beautician. Are you stuck in a bottleneck? Ha ha ha, maybe you can set restrictions and vows for yourself during practice to enhance the effect of practice. Nitro said slowly. Nitro is also quite optimistic about Link's potential. According to BCG's description, Link's current strength cannot be underestimated. Even his disciple Mo Laowu may not necessarily be better than the other party. As one of the most powerful telepathic users in the world today, Nitro has not encountered a being who can fight him to the point of satisfaction for a long time. Link's appearance seemed to give him hope. If possible, he hoped that Link could grow into one of the top telepathy users in the world as soon as possible. Restrictions and oaths, Link muttered. In the original work, restrictions and oaths are considered a very important part of the Nyan ability system. Among them, some of the restrictions and oaths directly strengthen the mind ability itself, and some of them assist the practice by setting harsh training conditions. For example, Gon's guessing fist requires shouting moves while charging up. Kate's crazy clown cannot choose its own weapon, and the weapon cannot be replaced if it is not used smoothly. Gon's transformation into Kuroken, etc. are the constraints that directly strengthen the telekinesis ability itself. With the oath. As for the case of setting harsh training conditions to assist training, Nitro set a goal of hitting 10,000 punches every day. Once Nitro completes this goal, his own mind will reward him. It is precisely by virtue of this restriction and oath that Nitro's fist speed has been greatly improved through daily practice over the past few years. Only then did he finally master the super high-speed punches that even monsters like the Ant King had a hard time avoiding. For Link, combat restrictions and oaths are a double-edged sword that may limit the development of telekinesis abilities, so he needs to choose carefully. But you can try to formulate some restrictions and vows in terms of practice. I understand, thank you, President. In this way, after talking to Nitro, Link returned to his room and tried to formulate restrictions and oaths to increase his cultivation speed. Early the next morning, the airship successfully arrived at the location of the third exam. Hello everyone, this is called the Tower of Trickery, and it is also the location of the third exam. All candidates need to reach the bottom of the tower within the stipulated 72 hours, otherwise they will be eliminated. The bean-faced man enthusiastically explained the rules of the exam to the candidates. The candidates standing on the edge of the tower looked down. This tower is at least several thousand meters high. It is impossible to climb down from the outside. It seems that we have to find a way to enter the tower first. After hearing the words of this examinee, the highly mobile examinee immediately began to take action to find the entrance. At this moment, Link suddenly raised his hand and asked, "So, let's start now." The bean-faced man nodded. "That's right. Okay." Link slowly walked to the edge of the Tower of Trickery. This special move also attracted the attention of those present. What does that guy want to do? Could it be that he wants to jump directly? Lirio, the member of the four-person protagonist group, looked at Link standing on the edge of the Tower of Trickery with some confusion. Or maybe he wants to turn into a bird and fly directly. But that ninjutsu should be some kind of deception, right? Kurapika analyzed on the side. In the previous assessment, Link showed a ninjutsu that could transform him into the appearance of a human-faced ape, which impressed him deeply. But he didn't know whether this transformation was a deception or whether his body structure had changed. I just observed that the walls of this tower are very steep, and there are many big flying birds circling around in the sky. This situation is not going to go well. This guy doesn't want to die, does he? Other examinees were also somewhat puzzled by Link's behavior. However, the next moment, under the gaze of everyone, Link actually jumped down without hesitation. Is this crazy? Such a thought flashed through the examinees' minds at the same time. At this moment, Xiaoji suddenly pointed at Link excitedly and said, "Kahlua, look, that examinee can actually fly in the air." What? Hearing Xiaoji's words, the examinees present ran to the edge of the Tower of Tricks and looked down. It turned out that Link was just like Xiaoji said, his descent speed was much slower than the free fall, as if he was flying with a pair of invisible wings. And some sharp-eyed examinees even noticed that the strange birds hovering around the Tower of Tricks seemed to be unable to see Link and flew on their own. Are these strange birds all vegetarians? A professional climbing athlete examinee thought silently when he saw this scene. Just now, he also thought about whether to climb the outer wall of the tower directly, but he was afraid that the strange birds hovering outside the tower would attack him. Now that he saw that Link was fine, he was overjoyed. Haha, it seems that I still overestimated the hunter exam. Since these strange birds will not attack people, the difficulty of climbing the outer wall of the Tower of Tricks is a piece of cake for a first-class climber like me. The professional climber candidate laughed and immediately grabbed the nearby rock wall and started to descend. Then he was taken away and eaten by the strange bird. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.